Lane's like, I'm out of here. What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline Live. We got an amazing panel tonight. Someone new to Hot Toys Hotline, Mr. Mom Collectibles, my friend Ryan here. It's awesome to have him. Ryan is basically supporting me on every last thing that I put up. So I'm like, I got to have him on. I had a nice conversation with him last night, not only on the Geeking Out stream, but afterwards we had a nice long conversation. So I had to pull him in today. Unfortunately, Chris won't be joining us tonight from Collecting Madness, but he's here in spirit, and I'm sure he will probably pop up in the chat at some point. But how's everybody doing tonight?
So how many pictures? How many pictures did Mr. Mom have that managed to have to blackmail you into having him on tonight?
Oh yeah, dude, he gave me a nice lump sum of cash, and I was like, you know what, I can't say no to some cash.
Oh, bribery. Okay,
no,
gotcha.
no.
So we got to put that.
I bought him a Jack Nicholson DX09.
Exactly.
Hey, man,
like we were just talking about
$20
is $20.
You know what I'm saying?
But what he doesn't know, I'm sending him the Mars Toys one though instead.
Oh, so what he did was he did a box swap. He gave me the Hot Toys box, the Mars Toys.
Or he did one of those, like they had those J&D like falsified ones and stuff. It was like
exactly.
They had the picture.
So I got scammed by
it's a Nicholson that's like all face crammed in and stuff and everything like that. You'll get a little like
what happened. All right, let's say what's up to some people in the chat. Of course, as always, my boy Insane One is here first. Matt, welcome, Matt. By the way, Matt has graciously agreed to help moderate the chat. So Matt is one of our newest moderators in the chat. So Matt, good to see you here on your first day on the job. Hey, we don't pay well, but we're nice to you. So that's all.
Sex bots beware.
Don't drop the ball.
You better watch out because Matt's on patrol now. We got Insane One and Matt in the chat, so don't play around with us. Carlito, how you doing? Boba Fettuccine here as always. Good to see you, man. Who else we got? Leighton. Leighton says, hey guys, how's it going? Finally got to catch a live. Yeah, dude. I feel like for the most part you're able to make it, but thank you for being here. It's good to have everybody here. Aunt P, good to see you, Aunt. I hope you're doing well. Violet, good to see you as always. Some guy. Every time I see you, I got to point out I love your profile picture, the Winter Soldier. You just remind me of a hot toy that I need, but I don't have. And actually one that we were just talking about the other day, actually yesterday, Ryan and I were talking about that's one that needs a 2.0. I'm sure you all would agree. I think we need a 2.0 Winter Soldier because that figure is just falling apart on everybody, We need a new one. I would definitely buy it.
Completely depleted.
Yeah, absolutely. Depleted. Eclectic Collector, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, look, there he is. I told you Chris will pop into the chat at some point. It's like I'm a mind reader. He said, what's up, Mike? Sorry I couldn't be on tonight, but I will be back next week. Enjoy the stream and be sure to subscribe. Yes. Wise words.
You will be missed.
Yeah, you will. But so Chris, him and his girlfriend had or his fiance, had their anniversary yesterday. So he was like, I didn't get to spend too much time with her. So I'm going to take some time away from the stream. And I think that's very fair. So, but yeah, guys. Exactly. Oh, dude, CMB, guys, we're not going to talk about this last episode because I want to give people a chance to see it. But holy crap, dude, CMP, your profile picture just gets me excited again because this character, man, you told me, you're like, dude, he absolutely carried this episode. And that makes me say, you went as far as to say he carried the show, dude. He is that dude.
I told you. Gundam. Was I wrong, dude?
He is that dude. I was blown away, bro.
Like I told you, they need to change the name Andor. Get rid of Andor and just call it Luthen.
Right, Luthen. I'd be down for it. But that now I'm like, we need a Luthen hot toy. We need it. We absolutely need it. But yes, we do need that Winter Soldier 2.0 ASAP. What's up, Dylan? Dylan says, what a beautiful day to stream. So Dylan is my friend from the UK, and he only makes it every once in a while because obviously it's pretty late there. So we appreciate you being here, man. Dylan does some amazing tattoo work. He's actually a tattoo artist. So if you're in the UK, hit up Dylan if you want a nice tattoo done. But all right, guys, let's get into our first topic of the day. I'm sure some people have had a chance to have conversations about this, but as a panel here, we have not. And dude, I lost myself when I saw this go up. And I know Sean was super excited as well. He was making voice clips and stuff in our chat message. So I know Sean was excited. Guys, let's go. We finally got the ARF Trooper in the ATRT set. Lane's over here shaking his head, but I am not shaking my head because this is one that I really, really wanted. As you guys know, or if you're new here, you may not know, the 501st is my favorite Legion. So I was really hoping and praying for this one because I have this grand idea with these new displays I'm building of having a whole 501st army in my display with all these releases coming out. So when I saw this, I was super excited. And not only was I super excited seeing it announced, but then when we got over to Sideshow and saw the price, I was even more excited. Now, I want to ask you guys, I want to ask the panel, we're going to get your thoughts on this, but I also, along with your thoughts, I want to hear what you kind of expected in terms of price on this set. Because me personally, I was honestly shooting in like the $600 range. I really was. I was expecting this to be way more expensive than we're actually seeing here. I don't know why there's such a price gap between this and that Bark Speeder with sidecar. Sure, there could be some more material there and a bit more complicated engineering, but really, is there that much more to justify almost a $200 difference? I don't personally think so. That's why this price to me is really special. But also in the chat, guys, feel free to chime in and kind of let us know your thoughts on this set. But Lane, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this because you were shaking your head the moment we pulled it up.
No, I was shaking my head because I was picturing you as you were smashing the pre-order button probably as fast as Nate.
Well, not yet. I actually have not pre-ordered this one, and you would think I learned my lesson. And we're going to talk about why I might have learned a little bit of a lesson later. But go ahead, Lane. Let's hear your thoughts on this set.
Well, I think this is going to be a really neat vehicle. I love how they have the paint scheme on the front there with the 501st Legion blue and everything. If you are buying the Bark Speeders, whichever one or both or whatever, obviously they have a natural fit to each other. I am not the biggest fan of the ARF Trooper helmet. I think it, for whatever, I liked it back in the animated series and stuff.
Right.
I didn't even like him when the ones we saw back in Revenge of the Sith. I think in an animated format, that helmet seems to work better, but I'm kind of the same opinion, like of the animated helmet, for the clone pilot. I think the animated one looks kind of goofy. I don't know why exactly, but just something to mention of. But that being said, I don't mean I think it looks horrible or anything like that. It looks like the ruffled things of a bulldog or something for its.
I told you, it looks like Nine Nub. That's who it looks like to me.
Yeah, but there isn't too much different with this guy from any other regular trooper armor except for the helmet. So I have no doubt that the posability and stuff like that for the figure is going to be fine. I mean, in the 2-pack, they're literally charging about $145 for it in price difference from it by itself.
It's a very fair markup for sure.
Yeah, so I think I think it's going to be it's a good set. I will wonder about maybe some of the joints in the legs and everything, how strong they're going to be in the vehicle, because they really need to be, especially if and I know we've seen it like, position flat kind of, where it's like, before, like how they'd be boarding it.
Who's going to display it like that? Unless you have a DTOF and you're like, I just have to have this as my only way to display. Who's going to display it like that?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Just the posability factor with the joints and everything. That's what I would kind of wonder with it and stuff. So how strong they are.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that we never will want to say anything late, but I really hope Hot Toys takes their time when they're making these to make sure that they're made very well. Because when we talk about sometimes individual figures having QC problems with just the nature and design of this thing, I do have concern that there could be QC problems with the vehicle itself. So I hope they just take their time making it.
Yeah.
I think otherwise, though, I think it's a really good set. Obviously, the price $435. Honestly, if this thing had been announced before I pre-ordered the Bark with Commander Appo, I probably would have got this instead of him, since I already have owned other Scout bikes, or as I have behind me, I have a swoop bike. So I kind of already have or have had a couple of the same family of vehicle. This would be something that the one thing I guess you also have to consider with this, guys, if you're looking at it, is the size of this thing with the trooper on it, or maybe to the tips of those.
It's about 24 inches with the trooper on it.
25 inches on it.
That's what she said.
Right, dude, 24 inches. You need to go to a doctor. You need to go to a doctor.
That's what he's coming in for those moments.
Right. So that's exactly what Sean's here for, just the comedic.
Yeah,
relief.
But I think it's a very cool purchase. Obviously, I think especially if you do a payment plan or something like this, since it's not coming out for a while, like at least a year away from now, that's a reasonable price for this kind of item. This thing has a big imprint vertically and horizontally. Maybe not as long as, like, say, the swoop bike or something like that, but you have to make sure you know. I think you guys would agree. You kind of probably need to have sort of an idea where, at least, or preliminary wise, where you might put
right.
it.
This isn't
or what
one
you
that.
Put it with.
Now, a lot of stuff, obviously, we joke around. We're like, oh, you buy it and then you think about it later. This is not one of those, because at 24 inches in height, you really got to think about it, because that's a lot of upward
And
space.
with length, with both feet spread out, it takes up space. It's
for
not
sure,
just
but
tall.
it's like, but again, of course, with this one, that's the main concern, though, is the upward space. And if you have detofs, it's like you're going to have to take up half of a detof to get this to fit.
Yeah. Well,
that's why friends don't let friends buy detofs.
Exactly.
Ryan, don't shake your head. Don't agree with him. We're not putting up with Sean's crap tonight. We're the DTOF squad. Even though I won't be the DTOF squad much longer, we're not.
I
got your back, Sean. I got your
I'm already
DTOFs
already on the. You're already on Ryan's bad side, Sean.
After
smearing his DTOFs.
Not with that comment.
Yeah, no, but this I think is it's a very good thing. But like you would say, that it's not exactly the same thing like the N1 Starfighter. But if you're considering getting this is like the DeLorean, the N1, if that comes out. If you were trying to consider getting the Tumbler, I mean, for those size of vehicles, you have to kind of have an idea of where you might stick it before I think you pre-order it. I don't think this is a thing you can buy, get the huge ass box in your house, and then go, fudge, I don't have any place to put it.
Right.
Like then you quickly are having to sell it for under retail value.
Right.
If you can't fit it. So I think that's this one, but we have a lot of stuff weightlifting. So this isn't something I'd say you can wait till October of next year until it comes in stock necessarily to get. But I think
you have to keep an eye on it, because on average the vehicles have been lasting about 6 months.
Yeah, but you need to kind of plan in that time frame. I don't think this is day one. I think you need to take time and plan out where you would do it and what would you have around it. What do you already own, Clone Wars? Are you considering something else? Do you have one of the barks on order? You know, I think you got to think about this. Isn't just I'm going to go put a 45 deposit down today and then worry. And
this is something too. I feel like you should have an idea of what you want to go with it. Because I wouldn't say you're just like, oh, I really like this this ATRT, and you just buy it just as a singular thing. This is one of those pieces. It's going to look much better when you have it surrounded by other troopers or have some Jedi generals commanding him in some way. So you kind of have to plan it out. Like you said.
When I was thinking about this, it's like when I did with the Bark Speeder. If I just bought the Bark Speeder by itself, it might look kind of boring. If it doesn't.
For sure, yeah.
But I got it because it's going to go with my Anakin on the stack. So this could be something you could consider buying too. I don't know if that most people I don't think are going to be able to think.
JB, that's what I'm talking about, man.
That would be freaking
That's
awesome,
what I'm
man.
talking about. We were just talking about RoboCop yesterday, Ryan and I.
Dude.
Give me all the RoboCop. Give me all the RoboCop.
Then I'm going to pass off maybe what you guys can think about your response to. I think this is if you have the space for it. So you have to be a pretty hardcore collector for some of this stuff. But if you can manage the pace, other than like Sean, you're automatically.
Sean's like, I'm all hardcore.
Sean's got the green check mark.
By the way, why did I read this? Why did I read this in D. Bradley Baker's voice? For the Republic. That's awesome. Kane, bro. Oh, Loco, what's up? By the way, man, I appreciate you saying.
That would be cool.
To drop a like. How you doing, man? Yes, Kane from RoboCop 2 would be amazing. I think that's like a dream figure for RoboCop fans. I think at the top of the list is probably Kane and another Ed-209.
But this could be a thing where you get one with the ARF and you get one, which when you think about it, it's actually only $5 more for that by itself than it is currently for the swoop bike for Mando.
I'm going to show you what got me while you're talking about
generals.
That. This is what got me, because I'm like, I already knew I was going to get the set with the Trooper and the ATRT. But then when I saw this, I'm like, dude, I might get a second one. And then we saw the pricing for these, and I'm like, I can get one standalone and one with the ARF Trooper, and that would be perfect for me because I can have one of the Jedi on it, and then have all the troopers.
I don't know about Ahsoka fitting on there. I don't know if she would fit.
I wouldn't even play with Ahsoka because of the seamless arms. I would leave her the way she is.
But Anakin, though, because you could just put, if you're getting one of the regular, you could put one of the other clone troopers, or if you're getting one of the, Geonosis, shiny, you can stick one of those on, or one of the droids on the staff you got with Anakin. You can easily just move him over and stick him onto that without any problem. I'm willing to bet his joints and everything, just the nature of his outfit makes it easy to bend the knees and stuff like that to get him positioned into it.
Right.
And there you go. And if when they put out Mace Windu in 2025, you could probably fit him on there too.
Oh, you meant to say 2023, but
no, 2025.
No, it was
the year of the Mace Man.
It was a verbal typo. You misspoke. It was a verbal typo.
Of the Mace Man.
Yeah. All right. Let me address some comments first before we move on to Ryan, because we got a lot piling up here. Pokey, how's it going, man? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. We had some comments here talking about the ARF trooper as Lane was insulting him. Matt says those ARF cheeks are puffy. They are puffy. It's definitely an acquired taste for sure. Pokey says, I will probably be getting 2 of these, much better than the Barks, but I'm still getting those. I love all of them, honestly. I think as a group, they're going to look absolutely incredible. For me, this is like a dream come true for me in terms of clone stuff, because the 501st is my favorite battalion. So this is really cool to me. Dylan is actually a fan of the helmet. He says he loves the helmet. It's super sharp and angular, very aggressive compared to how soft the others are. And that's kind of how I feel. I've mentioned before, the Snow Trooper, the Empire Strikes Back Snow Trooper, is my favorite trooper design in Star Wars. And the reason I love that trooper design so much is it's different, you know? It's different compared to all of the other trooper helmets. Whereas when we see between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi and other films, it changes. They make minor changes to the helmet, but that's about it. It's the same base design. They just make different changes. Like the A New Hope bucket is wider. The lenses on the Return of the Jedi helmet are a different color, you know? So that's the reason why I like the Snow Trooper helmet so much. It's just different. You know, I like different. Different isn't always good now. Like that Jet Trooper helmet from the sequel trilogy. I hate that. Looks like a crab, but I do like different most of the time. Let's see. Carlito says the best value for a hot toy figure set we've seen in a long time. The ARF Trooper combo is the way to go. Even if you don't care for the Trooper, it can be parted out for more savings. And that is true. If you do have the patience and time to part out that figure, if we do the math, I think Lane said it was like $145 for the Trooper to add it to the set. You could definitely sell that for more than $145, because it's at the end of the day, if you're selling it with all the Trooper parts, that's a complete Trooper. I would say you could probably get at least like $220 out of it, because there's going to be people that don't want the Walker, but they want the Trooper. So, and we've seen this with the Nightmare Batman 2-pack. So many people have been splitting up that 2-pack, and they've been selling the Batman and or the Superman for like $300 easily, you know? So it definitely can be done if you have the patience, for sure. Blackbird Tech, how you doing? Good to see you. And Kumar as well. Good to see you. Kumar says, hello all. Hope everyone is well and feeling awesome. Yes, we are feeling awesome, because there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about and a lot of new stuff coming out, which we love. And also there's stuff shipping that has been on pre-order for a while. So it's a happy day for Hot Toys for sure. But Ryan, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this set. Is this going to be something that you end up picking up? I already know your answer to this, but obviously everybody here may have not heard you. So is this going to be something you're picking up? And what do you think of the price?
So just touching base on what you said, a couple of things that jumped out at me. One was not only the price, which kind of shocked me, you know, but also the time of release. I was actually kind of surprised. Now, granted, like I said, I keep saying this, I haven't been collecting Hot Toys for years, but I'm kind of shocked that this came out around the time that it has right now, going into Christmas. Yeah. I kind of start winding down and thinking about what kind of figures are going to be released, things like that. I thought we would be getting maybe a couple more like single figures, not really vehicle-esque type figures. I thought we would get something like January after Christmas, but also Hot Toys surprises us. I'm kind of then also not shocked that we got it this time, but the price once again is really like, if this was a $600 vehicle that we got it before Christmas, I'd be like, what is going on? I'd be kind of shocked about it. But the fact that it's actually really reasonable, like you said, you part out the figure, I mean, it's a really great price. I mean, I will probably end up getting one, not right away. I'm not a huge 501st fan, or I like more original stuff, Troopers, things like that. But it's still a nice piece. And the thing about it is, it kind of goes back to what I've been talking about, is that Hot Toys is always testing us, obviously, financially, but they're also testing our space. And space allocation, I think, is really a big deal. And that's, you know, I talk about all the time. A mistake I made when I first started collecting is I really didn't think about space allocation that I do now. And I think as we talked about it, you know, I got Doc Brown, I got Marty, I got the DeLorean. I'm already pre-planning my setups for that kind of stuff. I'm right there
with you, man.
And I'm dumping my DTOFs. I'm building my new module case-esque style rackings this weekend to kind of free up and allow my collection to breathe. So this is a piece that I do feel it's going to make its way in there, not right away. I'm hoping to pre-order this after Christmas, I think it'll still be around.
I think so. I think you'll be able to make it. I'm holding off on my pre-order as well.
Yeah, I'm holding off till after Christmas because, like I said, I want to pay off a couple things and free up some space availability. That way I can kind of pick and choose what I want to pre-order next. But great piece. I mean, and the thing about it is, and I could be totally wrong about this, I looked at this and I'm like, could they really pull off an ATST now?
I know, man. And it's like, I kind of mentioned this yesterday too. With,
I mean, it's 24 inches tall and ATST is bigger, but could they pull one off?
It makes you wonder what possibilities these vehicles are opening up.
Yeah,
for display. It was a flex piece. Yeah. They love doing that. That freaking Anakin Starfighter just smiles at me every time I see the photos, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's an interesting point you bring up about it being so close to Christmas. And Sean very closely follows all of these releases and the stuff that we're still waiting on and the stuff that's yet to be released. So the fact that there's still so much on the plate and they squeeze this in towards the end of the year is very interesting to me. So I do appreciate you bringing that up because that didn't even come to my mind. I'm like, that's crazy that they're dropping this at like a month before Christmas, you know? But like you said, it's almost like a gift because they're giving us a very fair price compared to the other vehicles. So very surprising indeed. The price definitely blew me away because I was expecting over 600. I really was. I got to be honest with you. Sometimes I'm pretty on par with the pricing, but for this one I was way off because I was expecting around $600 personally. But yeah, let's see. JB is saying the X06 TMP Admiral Kirk released today. And so, dude, so yeah, Dom Prime follows those figures religiously. And he tells me all the time, like, you can't play around with those figures. Once they go up, you got to be ready to go. So I'm not surprised by that, being that I was told that, but that is insane. It is interesting to see other figure companies and how they do things, you know, and we're only recently now seeing that with Hot Toys, like the Arena Fett and the Stealth Suit 2.0 Captain America, where stuff is selling out that fast. But right now we're at like that 6-month period where a lot of this stuff is making it about 6 months in that pre-order window, and then it's gone. So, but we are going to talk about that here in a little bit. By the way, I want to say what's up to HG. Hope you're doing well. He says, "Hey, Hot Toys Hotline and panel. These ATRT and Trooper are perfection." I think for a lot of people, this one is one of those releases where everybody was being, for the most part, very positive, and that lets you know that this is kind of what Hot Toys is kind of moving in the right direction in terms of releases, because a lot of people were really hoping that this would become a thing. Obviously, we got to see this at cons and stuff, but we never heard anything about it since it was last recently shown. So it's awesome to see that it's finally up for pre-order. I'm really, really excited about that. Clone Collector says the price is also very reasonable for both of these, which I have to say is a great deal, and I do agree. And it's hard to say it's a great deal. But if you're someone in the hobby, comparative to all the other things that we have available for pre-order and those prices, that's what we mean by a great deal. Because obviously, at the end of the day, $430 is a lot of money. But compared to some of the other options we have and some similar releases, the other Bark Speeders, for example, this is a very good price in my opinion, and I'm very pleased by that. Carlito says they didn't even try to articulate Ahsoka's arms in the picture with ATRT. She's just holding her lightsabers in the neutral pose. Most collectors are putting it, dude. Yeah, my Ahsoka, she's just like this. She's just standing there. And the good thing about Ahsoka is those lightsabers are kind of iconic to be pointed behind her back, or towards her back, sorry, at her side. So that is one benefit to that figure. It doesn't look too goofy having her in kind of a semi-museum pose, because that's kind of an iconic pose for Ahsoka that we've seen many times in all of her appearances. So, but yeah, thank you, Ryan, for that. CMB, I want to hear your thoughts on this guy. And again, I do want to hear your thoughts on the pricing as well, because I think that's like the biggest selling point for this one is the value that you're getting for your money. So let's hear your thoughts on this set, CMB.
I originally thought that the Trooper Walker combo was going to be anywhere from $520 to $580.
So you're aiming high like me.
It was a welcome surprise that it was damn near $100 less than what I had guessed. But I guessed the Solo would be $290 to $315. So I was pretty much on the mark with the Solo when I guessed it.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair price, honestly, because it's a vehicle. At the end of the day, it is a vehicle. It's a Star Wars vehicle. So you're getting a vehicle and a figure for under $500. So to me, that's a perfect deal, because if you were to separate it, like, the Walker's $290, add in what, like Lane said, $145 for that Trooper. So they're not going to get a better deal for a Star Wars figure at 145, under $200. So for Hot Toys to do this, well, it's pretty much like their Christmas present to everybody who wants the figure and the walker.
Right.
I do think, though, that because of the weight of the trooper and the legs, I have a feeling that they're going to be ratchet joints.
I would agree with that. And thank you for bringing that up, because I forgot to address that, because Lane did mention that when he was talking about it, is he's worried about how it will hold up over time. And I think you're right. I think Hot Toys is smart now with these bodies. They are pairing the correct body with the type of scenario that the figure is going to be put in the most. And obviously when it's a vehicle, they know it's going to be posed on that vehicle most of the time with most people. So I think you're right.
Yeah, I definitely just see the ratchet joints, because with ratchet joints, everything locks in. You don't have to worry about the figure.
Exactly.
Its weight over time and gravity, just bringing the walker down lower, and you having to constantly reset it. So I think they're going to play the smart one on this and just give us ratchet joints with the walker.
I think you're right. And it's smart for them to do, because obviously with a ratchet, it kind of stops in between the teeth, so it doesn't sag over time like normal joints do. And if you have any of those original Sideshow clones, you know how wobbly those are. Literally like, it's like a marionette. It's so wobbly, you know. So I love to see that Hot Toys is improving on the bodies for the most part, especially with the clones. I will say, like the Coruscant guard, that has one of the best bodies Hot Toys has done in a long time, in my opinion.
Yes, it does.
That body is incredible. Like that figure it didn't blow me away in terms of the appearance, just because it's a very basic trooper design, but that body is incredible, and that made me love it that much more, you know.
But I am excited for this. Under 500, like I said, for a combo pack, I'm really excited for this, and I'm kind of with you on that. Like I originally wanted one, but like I was saying, I might get one, and then if the solos are still available, come back at it later.
Dude, it's hard for that price. It's hard not to.
Yeah, exactly. But the more we talk about it, and the more I look at it, I'm kind of leaning towards, damn it, I should get one combo and one solo.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm always the person like, I'm gonna get deluxe everything. I'm gonna get multiple deluxes. But I think with this one, I'd be perfectly fine getting one ARF trooper and one separate, just for one of the Jedi generals, because I just love how that looks. When they put up those photos, I'm like, damn, I want to do that. That looks so good, you know. Even more so, I'd rather have the Anakin on the ATRT than on the STAP. I'll be honest with you. I think he looks much better on the ATRT. That's just my personal opinion, you know. But
I agree with that. I think I've seen people do the clone troopers on the STAP, and I think that the clone troopers look better on the STAP, and Anakin would look better on
right. And it almost makes more sense too, because he's a general. So having him higher up, commanding the troops from above, you know, it just makes sense to me, you know. And especially if I have all of the 501st grouped up with him, I might have to do it, you know. I might have to.
And if you have two, like you were talking about earlier, like who's going to have it in the resting position? If you have a second one, you could literally have it in the resting position, like the guy just got on and it's about to load up.
Yeah, I don't want to say that like it looks bad. I'm just curious who's going to actually do that, as opposed to having it fully erect.
I might
like to say.
I want to see what it looks like, and then
me personally, I'm just going to have them balls to the wall, but yeah, especially if you have the space for it, man. I mean, I'm curious. I'm very curious, and I'm glad that we saved Sean for last, because I know Sean was so super excited for this, and he's been hoping this comes out. So I'm very curious to hear what Sean has planned for his display. Before we do that, I want to touch on a couple comments here. I just want to say what's up to my friend Steve Showcase. Guys, if you haven't already, definitely check out Steve Showcase. He's just starting to kind of get his channel going. Steve is like the nicest guy ever, and he does amazing content. So if you haven't already, head on over to Steve Showcase, subscribe to his channel, and give him a few likes here and there. But good to see you, Steve. Thank you for being here as always. But Clone Collector said this gives him hope for the M1 Starfighter. And I think, again, all of these vehicle releases are a good sign. And if they're willing to do stuff like this, and also at a lower price, it definitely excites me, you know. And granted, I don't know if
coming.
Yeah, and I do think the M1's coming, especially because of the interest they have in those little sets that they've been showing off with the M1. One of which we actually got a pre-order for, which is the droid set with the R5D4 and the pit droid. But it's definitely good to see that they're interested in that stuff still. That makes me think it's definitely going to happen. It's just obviously a lot of logistics and stuff that they have to work out, because that's a big set, you know, and they're going to have to ship it differently than a lot of stuff that they've shipped before, I think, because it's so giant. But they're going to make it happen, I think.
I see the N1 happening only because like Anakin Starfighter was only showcased like one time. And then after that, it just went to Sideshow coming soon. but you never really saw it again. The N1 has been displayed at a Sideshow Con. It's been displayed at Toy Sapiens in Japan at the Star Wars event. And, you know, from what we've learned when it's a Toy Sapien event, the things that get shown off there do come into production. So, and then, like I said, the fact that they've shown it more than twice now, and the fact, like you said, there's sets, like the droids, the Jawa, they wouldn't go to all that, they wouldn't go that far if they were just trying to flex it. They would have just shown it once and been like, hey, check it out. They wouldn't have, after that, you wouldn't have seen it. But they made sure to show it off in Japan and at Sideshow at their con. So that just leads me to believe it's coming. It's definitely not coming until next year, or, you know, so, but it is coming. There's no reason that they would flex it that many times for them to be like, you know what, just put it on the back burner. It's cool. We're not gonna.
I think
sell it.
I think you could see a few more companion pieces, like more droids and stuff, release to kind of give your wallet some breathing room, and then drop the N1 as kind of like the cherry on top. Like,
and we saw those pit droids,
and then they were showcasing some other stuff. I think you're going to see those release to give your time to buy some of that stuff up. And then they're going to drop the N1 instead of dropping the N1 with all this stuff and your wallet's just going to explode. Like, I think they're kind of piecemealing it together to allow you to kind of breathe, buy a little bit.
Oh,
yeah,
there. Of course. Yeah. They're not going to just drop everything.
And the next thing you know, you got a whole diorama already done, ready to go.
They're going to do it slowly.
The chubby Jawa that was Pelmalades.
The other droid, the other pit droids that actually had the pieces.
Right, that had the different markings and such. I mean, I can see them
with different parts that weren't shown with the other droids that are already for pre-order, and you didn't see them holding those same parts on the N1 display in Japan or at Sideshow Con. It was only in the promo photos. So that shows you that there's another batch of pit droids coming, and their accessories are probably going to be N1 parts.
Which would be really cool. I love the fact that they give some figures parts that go with others. So as you buy them, you can kind of complete a set. Now, it sucks when they withhold those parts, but if it's a cheaper set like the droids and such, I mean, that just kind of goes really well with that N1, you know? And like Ryan was saying, it kind of makes a whole diorama display. So I'm game if they give us some more companion sets to go with the N1. But TK is saying he wants a yellow variant to go with his Cody. And dude, trust me, I am hoping, and I know Penn in the chat is hoping for some 212 love. So we're all hoping and praying for it. And I do think it's going to come eventually. Obviously, the repaints are very easy when it comes to these clones. So they're not going to be done with clones anytime soon. So don't you worry. We'll be getting the 212 eventually. Hopefully, we'll get the 212 Airborne as well, because I know a lot of people, including myself, are really hoping for those. Penn says the CG has the superior body, Coruscant Guards, which he's talking about. But it doesn't have the thighs and the caboose like Cody. I don't know if I've ever examined Cody's caboose. Captain America, of course I have. But I don't know if I've ever examined Cody's caboose. I'll have to check mine out now and see if mine has what you're talking about. Also, of course, as always, Insane One always says so eloquently, don't take your likes with you. Leave it here and take a subscription while you're at it to the Hot Toys Hotline and this killer panel if you haven't. So yes, guys, we have 37 people here. If you haven't already, please consider dropping a like on the stream. Definitely helps us out a lot. And also, if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so, because you won't you won't be missing out on any of our content. And whenever we go live, you'll be the first to know.
Or you've been checking out that Black Widow caboose picture that they showed up with the new release.
I think Lane, you definitely were checking that out, because I know you're super excited.
Yeah, right.
But not me, man. And we're going to talk about why I'm not super excited for that figure. But Sean, finally, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I know you're very excited, so I'm interested to hear what your plans are for this set, how many you're picking up, and what do you think of the price?
So I already have 3 on pre-order. Okay,
Right,
the price is awesome, because if you look at
I knew it.
how much the individual one is versus the one with the ARF Trooper, you're paying $145 for an ARF Trooper.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So I have 3 of them on order.
I knew you already had them. I knew you could.
Yeah. I agree with the ratcheted joints, but I also think they'll probably add a clear pole to go and connect to the bottom of it, just to hold it up for stability. Because I do think eventually over time, even if the joints are ratcheted or not, it'll start to slouch down.
Oh, you mean like the actual walker itself?
Yeah. So having a clear pole to stick from the floor to the under base of it to hold it up, I think that's likely to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good point, and it's funny they don't show it here in the photos, obviously, because it would take away from kind of the realism. But
Right.
that would be smart of them to do because, as you know, with anything, I mean, the joints will just being under that pressure over time, being held in the same position, especially if you don't pose it. It's likely going to sag. I mean, that happens with all these figures. Like if you have a figure holding something like this, for example, the joint's going to sag over time if it doesn't have a ratcheted joint. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that for sure.
And it's just we're gonna see the ARF Trooper mold being used again because you got Sergeant Hound from the Coruscant Guard that they could remake it with that. There's other ARF Troopers they've had in the past as well. But going through and looking at it, this is just like with everyone concerning about the N1 and wanting it or not. Yeah, I think what Hot Toys is doing is look at like all the vehicle lines they've already done before. Like the Hulkbuster, for example, they've made 2 different versions.
Oh, true.
You know, you got the Keaton Batmobile, you have the Bell Batmobile, you know, the Tumbler.
Yeah.
You know, they also redid the Tumbler again with the camo version, and then they came out with the Tumbler again.
And the Bat Pod again.
Yeah. But see,
and the DeLorean
that's my
again.
point. You know, exactly. Then there's a
Even
DeLorean.
Though it's the Mark II, but...
And now there's a second DeLorean, though. But they've been progressing like how they should. You know, then they came out with the Stap. They came out with the Mando Speeder,
Fox.
then the Return of the Jedi Speeder, because they're 2 different vehicles between Mando and Return of the Jedi. They're designed differently.
And they just have some intertwined parts here and there, but they are different for sure. If you look at them next to each other, there are a lot of differences.
And then we have the Blurg. I mean, that was a huge chance on Hot Toys to do that as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, that Blurg is awesome.
And I think with the Blurg, if Kuil wasn't such a love character, they may not have taken that chance, but they knew that Kuil alone would carry those sales. But it was smart of them too with the OG Mando for them to make those improvements because it seemed like it's doing pretty decent, all things considering, you know.
Yeah, there's so much that they're doing and they're working on to get done.
Yeah,
I think they're testing the waters. So with the Bark Speeder and the Bark Speeder with sidecar and the ATRT, you know, if these are all proven that they're selling out before, you know, the pre-order date, I think, you know, we're showing Hot Toys like, hey, we're basically ready for the next evolution of getting a larger vehicle, regardless if that's the Rey Speeder from The Force Awakens.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
That they've shown.
And look how with Star Wars, and it's funny you bring this up that they're like they were testing the waters. Look how with Star Wars, how they've gone from smaller vehicle to larger vehicle to larger vehicle as they look at the sales and see the pre-order numbers, you know. I mean, the first Star Wars vehicle was what? The Maul Sith Speeder.
Yep.
And that's a really small vehicle. I mean, I have it in the DTOF behind me with Qui-Gon and Maul in there together. So that just tells you, like, that's a small vehicle. It's amazing. I love it. It's beautiful, but it's a small vehicle. And they've just been kind of slowly working their way up. And I think that Mando Speeder was like their way to really test the waters. And obviously it was smart of them because the Mando hype was huge. And a lot of people grabbed that set. Me personally, I grabbed it way before we got any of these crazy deals on it because I was just Mando drunk. You know, I was just pre-ordering everything Mando, as I know Sean was too. We have all the Mando stuff, you know. So, yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because I never really thought about that. They have kind of progressively gotten us used to these vehicles, especially with the Star Wars line. Interesting for sure.
And I could also see, you know, with the ATRT, we have Revenge of the Sith. So I can see them coming out with that and the ATRT driver.
Yeah.
From that as well. I'm sure they'll be announced at the same time as Mace Windu in 2025. For the 20th
way before that, but I get what you're saying.
Revenge
yeah, way
Sith.
Before that, like 2023 probably.
You know, and then there's, I mean, it really does open up more possibilities on where they're willing to go. Like, for example, we could possibly get some side vehicle from Star Wars that we just saw and never really thought of. and they could be like, you know what, that looks really cheap. We could probably make that.
Don't say that, Sean, because when you say that, you know what I think of? The Scooter Gang from Book of Boba Fett. That's what I think of when you say that. Something cheap that no one would have thought
First
of.
off, okay, Howard Chan ain't that dumb. Okay, he's not going to do the Scooter Gang.
I don't know. But also, Sean, do you think
or you know what? Maybe he might.
Possible?
He might, because he has a sense of humor. So it is
He'll
actually
do it
possible.
As cos babies. He'll release them as cos babies.
Hey, I'm fine with that because that doesn't affect me. Go ahead.
From it.
Go ahead.
You know, the fact that we haven't seen them in cos babies is actually a good sign.
It's a good sign for sure.
I mean, now if they go and they put them out and they're sold out in 72 hours, all of us have to be like, shit, he's going to come out with the scooters.
Yeah, that'll be the end of me. I won't be collecting Hot Toys anymore at that point.
I wonder if the mirrors will be really reflective though. If they'll be real mirrors with the side that had 8 of them.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be cool to see, but I do want to move on though, because we've been on this ATRT for a while. But Sean made some really good points, especially because it's hard to be the one at the end and have some new points, because everybody's already said everything. But Sean brought up a really good point. I didn't even think about it, how they progress through the sizes on these vehicles. And that's why, again, it seems like the N1 is certainly a possibility, because they've kind of conditioned us to be like, okay, what do you think of these bark speeders? Oh, you're buying these bark speeders? Okay, well, what about this ATRT? Are you going to buy this ATRT, especially at this price? So they're going to watch these ATRTs, and I think once they see them flying off the shelves at this price, they're going to be like, all right, well, maybe they're ready for the N1. Maybe we're ready to do it,
I'm also on another point. I can also see them start doing with how well the sales have been for all the Clone Wars and everything, is where I could see an announcement within the next year of a quarter scale clone trooper.
That would be really cool. And I think that might be one that brings a lot of people in that don't currently collect quarter scale or are afraid to. That'd be cool.
I mean, I think it would bring in a lot of the statue collectors.
I would want it to be a named clone at the very least, though. Like if they had quarter scale Rex, that would be insane. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I mean, even if they did the 501st clone, I think people would be happy with that.
Yeah.
Or maybe that'll be the first 2/12th clone we get is the quarter scale one before they give us the 6 scale one, but who knows?
Yeah. But all right, guys. So for those of you that don't know, Bo-Katan has been released in Hong Kong. So I'm really excited. Now, there's been some debate about Bo-Katan because she does have single jointed elbows, apparently. Obviously, that's not ideal and also not acceptable, in my opinion. I don't know why the female characters recently have gotten the stick when it comes to the bodies. This is probably going to be basically the same body as the armor, I'm guessing. I haven't watched any reviews yet, and we're going to take a look briefly at our boy Dante, Man of Hot Collectibles. We'll briefly take a look at his video as well, but this is the Sideshow first look. I will say, guys, I have taken a look at this figure in these final product photos that we got from Hot Toys, and I think the sculpt looks fantastic. And it's funny because it had been rumored that this one was next to come out, and we did talk about this on last stream. And Lane and I were kind of discussing what we thought of the sculpt, and I told you guys I thought if it came out close to the prototype, I was going to be happy, and I think they delivered with this. I think it looks great. They did seem to make some adjustments here and there. But I don't think it's super far off from the prototype. I think they made adjustments where they needed to, and I think it looks awesome. This one will kind of be a free-for-all, so if you guys have anything to say about this figure while we're showing it.
I got 2 problems with the figure.
Sure, go ahead.
First off is the single ratcheted elbow joints. I don't think they're the same thing that hindered the armor. Now, however, that being said, I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I find that annoying with the figure, but however,
it is annoying for sure.
However, I still even think if they didn't have that though, with the nature of this being a full bodysuit and stuff like that for this figure with armor, quote, armor pieces on it and stuff, you were going to run into issues with posing and movement with this figure. So I think that's one of the reasons just they decided to do it, just do the single joints, is probably the nature of the suit and where they had to put the armor pieces to, make it look like a Mandalorian armor and such. And just because of, I think this is a new female body possibly that they used to make this. I think they just went for the cheaper option because they realized there was going to be limitations, even if you had, double jointed or whatever. I don't know if it would have made a huge difference just the way this figure is designed.
This is interesting. So HG is saying that he heard that the single jointed arms were ratcheted. The armor, honestly, so normally with single jointed arms, what it is, it's a really tight joint. And obviously it doesn't bend past 90 because of the way it's designed. But normally it's just a really tight joint. Perfect. Just a side note, and then we'll go back to what Lane was saying. One of the biggest grails in Star Wars Hot Toys collecting is the Han Solo from the New Hope single release in the 2-pack, and he does have single jointed arms, and you never hear anybody complain about that. And it's interesting. It is very interesting. But the point to be made is right, exactly. The point to be made is this is a figure that was released in 2022, so you would expect that there would be a standard for what type of body they're putting out.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that it's only for the most part for female characters. The most recent one I got that had single jointed arms was Cable, but Cable's different. He has that robotic arm, the way that's sculpted. A lot of those mechanized arms and stuff are always single jointed for whatever reason. It has to be some way that they manufacture it and try to hide the joint in that arm. I think that's why they're single jointed.
Even Bucky, the most recent one, the Winter Soldier.
Right, exactly.
But, so I'm not as jumping. I'm just pointing out that was one of my disappointments with this figure.
And that's fair to say.
And I'd rather get the negative stuff out of the way first and then get to what I really like about it. The only other negative I have so to me, that's the biggest negative, which I think, yes, that does stink a little bit, but in the greater context of the figure, to me, should you buy the figure? Should that be the reason you don't buy the figure? I think you would be silly to not buy that. That would be your reason not to do it, Yeah. Because I think, like I said, this figure, I think just the nature of the bodysuit and because it's got armor on it and stuff, there was going to always be, even in comparison to I know someone pointed out to me, but what about the Death Watch Mando? I remember you had that and unboxed it, and you were able to put that in 2 minutes in some pretty stretched out poses. I was like, I understand this, but this is a different female body and it's just a little bit smaller. So I think the suit is tighter on this character, I think. It
does look very well tailored to her body. Like it is tight to the body, how it looks in all the media that we've seen her in.
Yeah. So I'm saying, I think that they made that decision based off what they may have already determined from R&D or that were going to be restrictions on it. I think what are your thoughts on the head sculpt, Lane? I like the head sculpt. I think it looks fine. The hair, I agree, maybe looks a little dark because there were some more blonde. I mean, we're getting really. I know the head sculpt's like the big thing with them here, but I'm not going to completely crush them if the blonde highlights in her hair weren't exactly perfect, 100%. But I think now I think this is like a 8 to 8.5 out of 10. So I see Katie Sackhoff in it. She has very pronounced chin and
right. So the John Cena comment, structure. Everybody knows that was the whole meme with this. It was the John Cena.
Her jaw and facial structure is just very rigid. It's not manly like some people I heard say. No,
right. So it's not Hot Toy design. It's more so them replicating what her facial structure looks like.
And she just may translate. Like we say, some people's faces sometimes can just translate a little weird. Like Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie's face sometimes translates weirdly, no matter what format or what size that they put her in. Now, the only other thing that I find annoying with this figure is if you let it rotate around to her pack. Oh, I thought it was going to go around.
I probably here because does she have the pack on here?
Her jet pack. Now, I figure you may have seen this, but if none of you guys
I haven't watched it. Well, so you can saw when I first pulled this up, that's as much as I watched of this. And then I was like, no, let me wait for the stream.
If you stop maybe right here, you can see it there. You might notice right there because it comes attached to her attached on the box. It is Velcro.
So that's Velcro what this is here. This is a piece of Velcro.
It's Velcro attached to her back, and it's not magnet based.
That is odd. It is very odd because
is
they've been
weird.
doing magnets on everything. I haven't seen that because I haven't watched any reviews.
Yeah, no. So that's why I wanted to point out that is my second annoyance.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Is he going to show us?
Velcro.
What?
Why would you use Velcro with that? Why?
You know,
why
see, and what is this right here? Is that a peg hold? Is it what is that? Or is that just like a relief cut inside of the jetpack?
Yeah.
I mean, so it does look seamless. I will say that, but that is weird. Like, why are they not doing the magnets?
To me, that's really annoying because I prefer the magnets.
Dude, it has to do with. I'm telling you, it has to do with this body that they're using. Because what is it? That's not a coincidence that, and or it could be. You know what else it could be too? Maybe the armor is so thin that they couldn't put a magnet behind there without messing up the look. So maybe that's why they did exactly. Maybe that's why they did Velcro.
And we can say versus here. Hold on for a second.
Well, Lane's, I want to touch on a couple. By the way, 1/6 shooter. I absolutely love the Life Day merch that Disney's been putting. Actually, I have right here on my desk. I have my Life Day orb.
Yo, I watched the special again today.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So, guys, for those of you who don't know, I forgot to grab. It is. I forgot to grab my animated Boba Fett out of the shelf because my boy Kurt Teft. He reminded me that it's the anniversary, right? Yeah. The anniversary of the original airing. Yep, it's Boba Fett Day. So I forgot to grab my animated Fett out of the shelf, but yeah, so it's Life Day. I would absolutely buy a Life Day Chewie with that red robe that he wears. It'd be amazing. And he would have the little orb with him, but that's wishful thinking.
USB powered orb.
Yeah,
right. That'd be amazing.
Fettuccine.
How's it going? Right. How's it going, Wolfman? Wolf Moon. I hope you're doing well. He says, hey there, guys. I got my Bo-Katan ordered. Hopefully it'll ship soon. I do think, and we're going to talk about figures that are shipping now. I'm very surprised that Sideshow has not sent out emails for this one yet. Very surprised because we got emails for ones that have not been shown yet with final product photos. So very interesting.
I think with the holiday, I think we're going to see a lot of them ship the week after, the last week of
probably
December.
JB says Justin said they were single jointed ratchet elbows and knees. Okay, cool. Like I said, I haven't watched any videos, so thank you for confirming that.
So here's what I wanted to grab real quickly. I would have normally had this, but I don't want to pull Boba Fett out and stuff.
Right.
So here's obviously Boba Fett's jetpack. We've seen obviously multiple versions of this. This is obviously I don't have the Bo-Katan one in hand, so I have to go off how it looks on video and picture.
Right.
But if we look at Boba's here and his pack, this one is way bigger than the Night Owl ones, like with axe
considerably.
Yeah. So maybe it has something to do also with the size of why they just, because they're so much smaller, it may have been
right. There's less room. So
they might have just decided to do the Velcro for it because it was easier to attach and keep it attached to the body. Now this guy's is way bigger. Just to take off the missile here, just the body for it is way bigger than.
And we'll pull back
some of the undermetal. Yeah, it just kind of in the middle of the transition here. That's so maybe that's what they did. But I find that really annoying.
I think you're right.
I don't like the Velcro attach. This is not, and that is completely not a reason to pass on the figure. This is more annoyances with the figure because Bo is one of these figures, you know, how we all want it to be, is I want it to be perfect.
And that weathering is so beautiful in our helmet,
so
too.
That is kind of the limit of what my issues with the figure were, those two things. So they're not so I've had her on pre-order through my LCS since like April of 2021.
Yeah, so, I grabbed her day one. This is when I was in Mando heaven, pre-ordering everything in sight, you know.
So I think from the look and style, I think this figure is going to be great. Especially, I think she looks great with the head. I think the head sculpt being on the body, like here,
dude, it's beautiful
on the body.
Beautiful.
Whatever limitations there are to the facial sculpt, I think get offset actually seeing it not by itself, but actually on the figure and with the rest of the body. I think it balances out better. But like I said, it's an 8.8 to 8.5. So it's not to me as good like as the Boba Fett with Throne, you know, the repaint Boba Fett head sculpt. I think that one is overall as head sculpt is better. I think it's a little bit more accurate.
Yeah.
But that's picking little points at it. But what I love about the figure, the head, I love the helmet. Like the detail on the helmet is great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything weightless today? Not that I know of. We'll double check last chance before we end the stream, but not that I know. I don't think so. That's true, Clone Collector. I think this one definitely was a hit as far as what I could see. It does suck with the single jointed arms, and I do agree that is unacceptable. The Velcro, again, is a different choice, but I do think now that we've kind of talked about it, I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense. The pack is way smaller. The amount of room that they have, not only in that thin armor, but in the pack to fit magnets is probably slim to none. So they kind of did the next best thing. And their Velcro, I have never had any issues with the stuff falling off. So I'm not too worried about that.
And
it's just a matter of...
I can't complain because you might remember, like when I talked about Taskmaster, how much I like that figure was the Velcro pieces. It was easy to remove. So I don't want to be now. One thing I'll say is that I guess
that's true.
Where the foot articulate, I think the problem is that this figure is limited in articulation in certain respects. Is that the boot, like the lower boot area and stuff, is supposed to be almost one piece, so the foot articulation is almost non-existent.
I mean, it is split cut though, so I mean, for the most part,
but it's Justin's review. I'm going to let you guys go watch Justin's review. I'm not going to go into.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I feel like it looks pretty decent. I
think there's going to be a little bit of limit of articulation with this figure you may not have expected originally, but I'm not completely surprised with how it was made. The armor, because our armor, like I know her chest, like the upper body there has almost no articulation at all, like almost at all. But the details with the figure, the armor, I think it looks great. I mean, these are posable statues in some way sometimes, So I think once you get it into a pose you like, you're not even going to be thinking.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go that far with this one. Like I said, it really is. It's just a single jointed elbows. From what I'm seeing here, and this is my first time seeing them really pose it, I don't see any really other limitations.
OG.
So I think for the most part, and by the way, I want to say what's up to my boy OG. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you as always. Good to have you here with us. I think Ryan, you wanted to make a couple comments about this because I saw you wanting to jump in there. What are your thoughts on this Bo-Katan?
I like it a lot. I didn't pre-order this one because, like I said, I'm kind of killing off some old pre-orders, before. I like this figure a lot. I mean, I saw a lot of the flack the head sculpt got. I mean, the reality is you're either going to display it. Everyone that was complaining about the head sculpt, I think the head sculpt's on point. There's no issues with it.
I do too. And like right here, this is how I'm going to display mine.
It does look like they did a little bit of softening. See, that's the problem, is that the photos were so good. It's kind of hard, you're all in on these blogger photos and stuff. And then when you see it in hand, it's kind of like you got to kind of set your expectations. But it does look like they softened it up, maybe the jawline a little bit, or it could have just been the photos. But the sculpt is on point. I mean, I always try to give it the angle test where I look at it from like dead on, left, right, up, down to see. And it looks like the character from all sides. And the funny thing about it is that this is one of those characters where, sometimes you get them where the sculpt is like okay, but then you're going to put the helmet on. This one, you literally can display it either way, helmet or with the sculpt. And I feel like a lot of people are going to put the helmet. I mean, it's hard to determine which one you're going to do because the paintwork on the helmet is just fantastic. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
The weathering is spot on, man.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
And the thing for me personally, why I'm going to hold off because I want to see if I can try to get it maybe with a coupon, something like that. The reason for that in my display, I have a hard time getting this by yourself without getting the other two Night Owls.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm thinking of this as like a triple threat purchase where, okay, you put out $200 and something for this figure. You got Casca $270 and you got
to cough up for the other ones at that
$235. And that's just me. Other people can display this by itself. You can display this figure with Mando. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there's even a scene when with Boba Fett, wasn't it Book of Boba Fett? They made it appear
when they're in the cantina.
Exactly.
Casca
so you can really
there's
versatility in this figure that you can display her with multiple scenarios.
Oh, yeah.
But for me,
you can put her with the Death Watch.
Yeah. So for me, I'm thinking this though is a triple threat. And because I did a quick first impressions video on it, and I think that's exactly what I said was that for me personally, I'm already envisioning this with the other two Night Owls. I kind of find it hard, her being solo. So that's why I'm thinking like, all right, I'm going to buy this one, but I'm already pre-planning another 270, another 235 for the other two, and kind of display them in some of the photos as like a trio, which looks it's hard not to do that.
That's going to be like ideal. Like that's
so that's kind of where my head's at. So I'm going to hold off on it, and like I said, pay a couple things off. But she's definitely coming home 100%.
Don't worry, Axe is coming next week.
Yeah, so I mean that's the problem that they're going to stack up. So I want to try to see if I can get this with a coupon and really throw some points on it.
And I think with her you'll have the chance because she was definitely one that got a lot of like day one pre-orders, and that kind of probably showed Sideshow like, oh damn, people want.
Yeah, it might sit. So I mean,
I think she'll be sitting for a minute. I do.
I'm not rushing, but definitely the trio. Like that's how other people I heard are just going to get her by herself, but I see her as a trio piece personally.
I agree with you. I totally do. Now you do have a lot of options, but I do agree, and I haven't pre-ordered Casca or Axe yet because I know that they're going to be on coupon. I just know it.
Yeah.
And this one will be too. So if you haven't picked up Bo-Katan, don't be too worried. Again, we haven't got emails yet from Sideshow on this one, but
nice blurry background
here soon. Yeah, I know. It's like
I didn't like
pixelated. Nah, this background's very plain.
Now, let me ask you guys, and then also, CMB and stuff, you guys respond too. So what we just talked about, some of the
there you go.
Ouch. Yeah, goodbye.
Say
but I already have. I didn't get Axe. I don't know if I'm gonna. He was the one I was willing to kind of maybe pass on because no head sculpt.
It's the no head sculpt thing, man. It's so weird.
Yeah. And plus, if you own a Death Watch, you can just stick them with that, or one of them with them, and you'd be fine because it's almost literally the same figure. Or maybe if you have one,
it is a different shade of blue, but you could make it work for
you
sure.
could repaint it. You could get them repaint them.
Are you repainting Lane? Because I know I'm not.
No.
Whalers, he could do it.
Yeah, no, I could go hit up Zach. He paints stuff all the time.
There you go.
The one question I would have this is to all of you guys in relation, not directly with Bo. Now, being that I think there's general consensus, this is probably a new female body that they're using for her.
Now that we're hearing it's ratcheted, yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have any concerns that they may also do this for Fennec Shan and also Casca Reeves?
Of course, yeah.
100%.
I mean, Casca, they're probably going to use a very similar body. I mean, obviously she has different proportions, but I mean, how difficult would it be for them to make a similar body with longer limbs and some extra padding here and there,
And her sculpt looks amazing too.
Dude, it's beautiful. I mean, I think to date,
they shouldn't even touch. They should. I don't even think they should need to even improve. I think.
And it's spot on. And they didn't show it recently because obviously with Mercedes, they were having issues with her likeness with the WWE for a while. And they may still, I don't know, Lane, I know you follow that more than me. Are they still having that issue? Or maybe anyone
she hasn't been with them for, however long it's been.
Right. But
no one knows
what
they withhold. That's what the WWE does.
Look at there, how it looks. Yeah, it just, the way the boots are with that, I think it's those pleather, like kind of the outside of the boots.
Like
that's what I've heard.
With
the
holster looks real nice. I do like the holsters. Though.
Can you back up for a second? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you like that.
No, you're good.
You back up to when Guy was like kind of lifting up. Pause right there.
Guy, this is Dante. Guy. Don't do Dante like that.
Oh, sorry.
Right here. Oh, sorry.
No, back up a little bit to when it shows him moving that out of the way and see the scuffs right there.
Oh, you're talking about the creasing and stuff right here.
No. I mean on the plate though.
Okay.
On the thigh plate.
Yeah.
Or you can't even see it, but it's there.
But that's cool. It's because how tight. Like Justin talked about this, but I didn't like. I was like kind of just listening to it, saying I wasn't watching it. For how tight he was talking about, the holsters there are like against the body, rubbing against the plate. Hot Toys made sure to put detail to make it look like on the armor piece. It would have been like that; those things from
like
her pulling them in and out had been rubbing up along.
That's probably exactly what that's there for. That makes a lot of sense.
Like it was showing wear and tear of her wearing those, like actually, and pulling them out and rubbing against the armor. I thought that was really cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to just like.
No, you're good.
Like, oh my god, look at that! But that's when we're talking about guys for the detail with this figure, despite whatever shortcoming, show how detailed they've been on it.
Look at that woven.
They're putting stuff like that someone may never look at.
Look at that woven design with the stitching on the arms. It looks beautiful,
color,
man.
The paint apps,
beautiful.
Despite how I love the paint applications and stuff onto her jetpack, combining with the armor piece. I will say, Costa's going to have, like, the painting for theirs is going to have to be really good to match up for how good I think this one looks. Like, just the combo.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Peyton says he sees somebody swapping the body. Hey, more power to him. I'm willing to make this work. I don't think it's a loss whatsoever. I still think it looks great. Clone Collector says slight theory here. Do you think Hot Toys released this without Sideshow expecting it? Hence the reason for the delay. I mean, maybe. I think honestly, they have a lot of stuff coming out before the end of this year.
Or just in the last week.
And also, like Axe doesn't have a sculpt, so I'm not surprised they pushed him out. Vaughn, yeah, we're going to talk about that, but there are quite a few figures that don't have head sculpts that have been people have received emails, including myself, have received emails for. So,
and we had last week the Met Test Tony. So I mean, like in the last what, 2 weeks, week and a half, we've had not even including what we've been talking about in release announcements, just with stuff actually coming out.
There's a lot. But before we move on from Bo, Cigars and/or Sean, would you like to comment on Bo? Kind of share your thoughts, or it seems like Cigars already shared his thoughts in the chat.
No, I'm good, man. I want this figure. I honestly think from the promo to the final head sculpt, they did make changes. Like you can see that they thinned her jawline out to give it more of a feminine look instead of what we were all calling, you know, her John Cena and everything, the whole joke that went around. But you could tell from the first promo to this one that they did give it more of a feminine look. Like they went and they tweaked it, because that first promo, man, she had a jaw that could break rocks.
And I think
and look at it. You can see it even when it's sideways, that it's more angled. It's got.
It looks just like Katie Sackhoff, and I think Ryan is right though. Part of it was I definitely do think they adjusted the sculpt a little bit, but also it's also lighting plays into it a lot. And as we know with Hot Toys, like their prototype photos never do the sculpt justice, and we're always waiting for like JC Hong to post his photos of the sculpt in his hand to see what it really looks like. But I do, when I'm seeing this, I'm like, I definitely think they made some changes here. And I think it looks beautiful. I really do. I think it looks just like Katie Sackhoff. And even down to like the freckling that they have in her cheeks, which is
like she looks so good. She looks so good next to them paired right now.
Right. The proportions are incredible. Like, and recently Hot Toys, I think, is, you could say whatever you want, but I think in terms of the proportions on these characters, they've been doing a really good job.
Much better.
Apart from Winter Soldier, that one was a little odd. Or I don't even want to, not even Winter Soldier, Bucky. With the Bucky recently.
With the dislocated robot shoulder.
Right. I know they call him Winter Soldier, but it's Bucky, you know. But yeah, I think that one looked a little odd, but for the most part, the proportions on these figures are getting a lot better. And this, definitely they paid close attention to her body type, because I think this looks just like her, man. I'm really, really excited. Lane to CMB, are you sleeping while I'm trying to break it down here? Yes, what? Jesse should be released any day now, I'm hoping. I really am. Someone mentioned earlier, and it may have been Clone Collector. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but someone mentioned ARC Trooper 5s and ARC Trooper Rex and ARC Trooper Echo. I would love to see all those figures, dude. Obviously, I love the 501st, like I said. So 5s is like #1 most want in terms of clones, and ARC Trooper 5s would be perfect. Have you seen the Clone Wars? You guys know 5s could have literally changed the world if they had just listened to him. You know, it's such a shame that he could have changed the world. I mean, he would have changed the whole story of Star Wars, but yeah, 5s is the GOAT, man. But yeah, we're going to move on from Bo-Katan. I don't think Sean has anything to say about it. He might be working still, because I know Sean's in between working right now. But we're actually going to move on to someone had previously just mentioned it, but Vaughn emails were sent out, guys, over this past week. I got one myself saying that it will be arriving in their warehouse within the next 14 days or 10 days, whatever it said. So this one will be arriving soon, hopefully. I'm not surprised, again, because this one does not have a head sculpt. This is basically just a hodgepodge of different parts that we've already seen from Commander Cody and the 501st Deluxe, for example, 501st Standard. So I'm not surprised that this one is starting to ship soon. Now, this one I am very curious about in terms of who's picked this one up, because I know a lot of people with clones, they like to have the head sculpts, and which is surprising to say, because obviously with any sort of troopers, a lot of people are like, oh, got to do the helmet. But I've seen a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't have a head sculpt. I don't want that. Why doesn't it have a head sculpt? But to be fair, his appearance in season 7 of the Clone Wars, he didn't take his helmet off. So this is how we see him. He's got the 332nd armor, or excuse me, the 332nd painted helmet on. I picked this one up day one. I was really excited to get this one again to add to my 501st collection, but it was just the hype of, we got Captain Vaughn and then we got Jesse at like the same time. So I'm like, dude, I'm scooping them both up. Give me both of them. Will this be a discounted figure down the road? I think it will be. Guys, you have to remember right now, this discounted figure window that we're looking at, stuff that has been on pre-order for like a year, that stuff that Sideshow has had already made their allotments for and such, you're going to have a chance to get a deal on most of this stuff, because they weren't changing how they were doing things at the time. At the time of when they were ordering these, they put in for extra. But now they're operating differently. They're like, okay, well, this stuff is all sitting. We're tired of having to discount it by 30%, 25%, sometimes even buy one, get one 50% off like we're seeing right now. they're tired of that. And I'm not surprised if think of it, if you guys were a business and you're sitting here looking at your numbers, you're like, why are we discounting this stuff so much? Oh, it's because we're buying too much. So let's not do that anymore. Let's pre-order, or let's have people put in pre-orders and we'll cut the pre-orders off. Call it a day, move on to the next, So I'm not shocked by it. I'm actually shocked that it took them so long to do this. And I think all of us are. We're like, why are you ordering all this extra stuff because they've had stuff sitting for a long time, So, but with this, sorry, that was kind of a long answer, but it was just kind of me throwing in a bit of extra info there. But yes, I do think this will be one you have a chance to wait for a discount for. Of course, keep an eye on it because sometimes things surprise us, but I do think this one you'll have a chance to get a discount on. If it's anywhere close to the amount of 501st Deluxe troopers and standard troopers they ordered and Captain Rexes they ordered, I have a feeling with this one, they saw those Captain Rex orders, like, order some more Vaughns, because Captain Rex, I mean, look how long he's been sitting in stock. We all expected him to go quickly, but he's still hanging on, So with this one, I do think you have a chance to wait and kind of see what the deals are like on them. Again, me personally, I threw pre-orders at this one and Jesse like almost instantly. So I'll be getting mine hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I mean, I got my email. So if it's true to what they said within the next 14 days, I think that's what it said. I'll be getting mine. I will be putting up a review for this guy for sure because this is one I'm really excited about. So yeah. But anyone on the panel, if anyone wants to chime in, any of you guys picking this one up? If so, did you get your email? I know I got my email. I purchased mine from Sideshow, by the way. That's the email I'm referring to.
For me, no.
I'll be getting it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you can. No, all I'm saying is that
another Ryan talk first.
No, real quick. No, you said you hit the nail on the head. Is that just another one of those to wait on? Like I said, you see that Captain Rex just sitting, so it really doesn't give you much of a reason to have to get it right away. So
I'm glad, Ryan. I'm glad that you're there with me still because a lot of people, and I mean, and I'm putting in pre-orders for this stuff that's going on the last chance page, but a lot of people are like, dude, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not. Me, I'm still playing. I'm still playing the game. I'm riding the fence right now. I'm like, some of these, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I know some of them, dude. I mean, I do too. Because especially with this last chance stuff, like if it's stuff that's on my wish list that I want, I'm gonna drop a pre-order if it hits last chance because I don't want to miss out on it. Yeah. And I do all my pre-orders through Sideshow, so if it hits last chance, I'm going for it.
Yep, 100%.
Go ahead, CMB.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm gonna wait for Vaughn to get in stock and then I'll be picking them up. But that's my thing is I wait for things to get in stock now. So because I got plan A through Z.
Yeah, and this is a couponer for sure. I think this is a no-brainer for a couponer. But hey, it is very exciting that it's finally coming out again. I just absolutely can't wait. I think the most excited I am in terms of these new displays I'm building is having a 501st army. Dude, I'm so excited. I can't wait to have Anakin in front of him with Ahsoka. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to have 332nd helmets on. It's going to be so good, dude. So I'm really excited. This one is really, really special to me only because it's a named 501st trooper. And the more we get of those, the better. Kumar says, guys, I beg to differ. That's okay. There are many who bought multiple 501st who have extra helmets. Change this guy's helmet. You get another variation of a 501st. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, this figure is basically Commander Cody and the 501st troopers. All those parts reused. I mean, the helmet is basically the same. He's got that same shoulder piece with the antenna on it. A lot of reused parts for sure. But that's the thing. With that being said, they're going to crank out or probably have cranked out a lot of these preparing for this release. So I do think this will be a couponer for sure. I wonder if somebody will do a custom repaint to have them on Cody. I think they will. People that missed out on Commander Cody and they have the talent to do so, I think they'll, or the means to pay somebody to do so, I think they will for sure. This is definitely one that's got custom written all over it because it's a cheap price for $250. It doesn't have a head sculpt, but for $250, it's a cheap buy-in, especially if you can get it on a coupon or something. I think it makes a lot of sense that people are going to grab this one up for customs. Another one, what's going to be custom heavy for sure is that Attack of the Clones standard trooper, the all white trooper, the standard look. That one people are going to buy up for sure to do custom. So I'm surprised that one doesn't have below a 3 limit because I think that's at 3 limit right now. Most of the Attack of the Clone stuff is other than the R2. I'm surprised people aren't buying that one up more, But maybe closer to release date, it'll be like the 501st. Once people got scared with that one with the blue screen, they just bought them up like crazy. Go ahead, Lane.
Well, I mean, with the Vaughn here, he was honestly never one I was really that interested in.
Right.
I mean, it's a reuse of mostly all Cody stuff, and I have Cody. The only things I would just say you have to be really careful is the two antennae, the one on the shoulder and the one on the
I love the use of the plural there. You got it right. Antennae. I love that, Lane.
Since both those had breakage issues for Cody. I mean, I don't think it's a bad looking figure or anything, obviously. I love the Ahsoka painting and stuff on the helmet.
332nd is beautiful, man.
It's really, I mean, it's not a bad figure or anything, but you know, I guess my issue with the Vaughn is, and why I wouldn't be really, even though I would probably be more likely to buy a named clone versus just, a regular whatever, like the ARF Trooper versus this guy. I'd probably be more likely, if they were being sold separately, to pick up Vaughn because he's a named trooper, even though we don't see his face or anything. But, there's not enough unique to him. And, I might buy him if I didn't have Cody, just because, that armor set and stuff I think is really cool. But I own him. And just...
so it's a no for you, basically.
Yeah, there's just not enough with him. I would be much more likely to get Cody. Hey, JB.
Fair. Yeah, JB, how's it going, dude? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Guys, we're going to move on. I think we've talked enough about Vaughn, but yeah, very exciting indeed. But we did see Axe Woves not long ago pushed up. For those of us that pay attention to the Sideshow website, we did see this date get pushed up, and some people got emails about it. But now people are getting emails that theirs are going to be shipping soon. The same email that I got for Vaughn. Of course, I did not get the email for Axe Woves because I do not have him on pre-order currently. This is one I already knew from the get-go. I'm like, I'm not buying him right off the rip because he has no head sculpt. It is a cheap price, but I knew this is going to be a one that a lot of people are like, eh. And like Lane mentioned earlier, and like I've mentioned before, it's very odd that he didn't come with a head sculpt, considering the other two Night Owls, Casca and Bo-Katan, have a head sculpt. It's very interesting that they didn't give this guy a head sculpt. Obviously, everything at the end of the day, it comes down to licensing, but is it really that difficult to get the licensing for the actor that plays him?
Yeah. He wasn't even in like the last couple episodes, the final battle and stuff. So, HG, boo Lane for not getting Vaughn. How dare you now? Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. And for me, I feel like because I love putting the head sculpt and putting the head sculpt on, like the helmet and hand look, I'm going to have to get a third-party head sculpt for this guy just because I love that helmet and hand look. And we saw them with their helmets off so much. I mean, that was like one of the biggest things about the Night Owls is the Mando is meeting them for the first time. And he's like, oh, you have your helmets off? Like, this is new to me because in his covert and his Mandalorian covert, they don't take their helmets off. So that's a big aspect of these characters. So it's like the fact that we didn't get a head sculpt, I'm like, come on, man. Yeah, and you're going to give two of them a head sculpt and not the third one? Yeah, I guess it
does mean more money, OG.
I bet you Axe Woves will get a head sculpt in season 3 because his armor changes.
They're going to do us like that for sure.
Yeah. So he's going to get the new armor change, and then we'll probably get the head sculpt from that one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That seems the most likely scenario if we get one.
Because you can see in the trailer his armor does change.
Right.
I think the only also issue with this figure is if you're looking at the Night Owls or like you're having a budget, man. There's a lot of other figures coming out and getting all the Mandos and Night Owls. This guy probably has the least interesting looking armor of all three versus Casca and Bo.
It's very basic for sure. I mean, you can see them all together here. It's very basic. And obviously his armor is not primarily blue compared to the other two. His has a lot of that like darker grayish black color. So yeah, it makes him less poppy on the shelf, I do love his helmet though. I love that design that he has on his helmet. I think it looks really cool.
He's not a bad figure, and for a $235 price, I think there's enough unique to him.
For $235, absolutely. Yeah,
but he is basically he's basically a Death Watch.
What were we? Yeah, what'd you say, Ryan?
That's exactly what I was going to say too.
He's the weaker of the three. It is just like a Death Watch, man.
Right? Yeah, I mean, he doesn't hold a candle to the other two, especially because they have those head sculpts. Like you said, that Casca Reeves head sculpt is beautiful, and I almost want to pull her up after this because I want to see it again. Because
I actually went on Sideshow. I was looking at it one more time, and I was just like, oh man.
Yeah, and we'll pull it up because I mean, while we're still talking about Axe, we'll pull up Casca because
This
we've
is
already looked
basically
at
a Death Watch,
Bo-Katan.
though. Same thigh plates, everything.
Right, it's all it is like a
the
repainted
helmet.
Death Watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just
but
different
that
helmet.
said, though, if you could get when he comes in stock, I would tell you, even if you from Sideshow, if you get one of those, for entering a contest, $25 off coupons or something like that, be able to get him for $210 or maybe $205 if you got even like $5 worth of points or something like that, he might be worth picking up.
Yeah. So like Matt's saying, Axe is $235, Casca is $270. So you're paying a small amount difference for a head sculpt. I think that's worth it to me. I would have absolutely paid more. I would have paid $265.
She may have a completely new body compared to.
Yeah, she might. I mean, like I said, my thought is she's probably going to have a similar body, if not the same body, to Bo-Katan. Obviously, they're going to have to change a little bit to fit her body proportions. But yeah, dude, I wanted to look at this again because, like Ryan was saying, like this head sculpt is beautiful, man. It really is, and it's like from every angle, I'm like, this is Mercedes. This is her. This is spot on, and I'm really, really excited for this figure. Funny, we were also talking about what's her name here? Why am I blanking on her name? Yes.
But
yeah. Why are we Fennec Shand is probably going to have a similar body, because that's how it's like the trend with the Mandalorian figures. They seem to all have similar bodies with these single jointed arms and such. I would hope with Fennec, at least because she has that big sniper rifle, you're going to have to give her enough give in that elbow to pose her with that sniper rifle. So I hope for Fennec's sake and for our sake that they give her the double jointed arms because it's going to be very important with her.
I just like him.
I'm thinking she's going to get a different body.
Coming.
I would hope so, dude. And she's a bit more slender too than them, and she doesn't have all that padding.
Well, she has the robot guts, so she's going to have.
Oh, you're right. Body. You're right. She's because it does have that reveal. Yeah. It does come with that. Reveal.
So she may be limited, like Bo-Katan and probably Costume's going to be for the chest movement
in the abdomen area. I think she'll be limited, but they'll probably they have to give her double jointed arms for that sniper rifle, dude. Because like if you can't bend past 90, how are you gonna pose with that sniper rifle? They've got to. I would really hope so, but I guess that remains to be seen. Yeah, she won't have any ab crunch for sure.
No, all right, guys, just because that's going to be in the way,
exactly.
The robot guts.
Right. We're about to jump to a sensitive topic for me. Because guys, I took an L. I took an L the other day, guys. I hate to admit it, but I took an L. You can see here, guys. If you weren't aware, the Commander Appo with Bark Speeder did sell out and go to waitlist.
It did just kind of go poof like that.
Unfortunately, this happened overnight. You guys know I tried to, and if you're on the Instagram page or Facebook group, which if you aren't, definitely hop over. We're actually doing a giveaway right now in the Facebook group. But anyways, if you aren't. Or if you are, that I try to post and warn people, and some of the moderators in there also will try to warn people when stuff goes last chance. This one, I even missed out on it because it was in the middle of the night. It was like 2 a.m. It went on last chance and sold out by 6 a.m. EST. So I had no chance, I could have grabbed it from some of the other retailers, but I'm like, I do, and we've said this before, and definitely Cigars has brought it up a couple times on this stream. I do think when it gets closer to release date, when Sideshow looks at their numbers, they look at their cancellations, because especially with vehicles, people are going to cancel. A lot of people they got FOMO'd into this. They're like, oh, it's selling out. And they're going to realize, one, that these payments are super expensive every month if you're not used to that. And two, there might be like, I don't like clones enough to spend all this money on this vehicle. So people are going to cancel. And I do think closer to release date, they're going to open up some waitlist spots. So I'm going to wait out for that. But it does suck that I missed out on. But what are you going to do? You can't win them all. It was in the middle of the night. Even Hot Toys Hotline, the information man that I try to be, I missed out on it. But that's just how it is, guys. That's how it is sometimes. I'm not devastated or anything. I know I'll be able to get it, but that's a lesson learned. I guess the lesson I learned is you have to stay up all night because you never know what's going to happen.
I think it was you did the healthier thing, deciding to try and actually get some sleep.
Right. See, exactly, Matt. With Electro as well, the same thing.
Yeah, there's always more figures you'll be able to find to replace it if you don't get the one.
That's true. Yes, Rick, Neo is almost sold out. Actually, a lot of those are. And
yeah, he's been on that for a bit. Neo has.
Yes, yeah, Neo's been there.
Like Green Goblin and stuff.
Goblin, they will eventually, Buzz Lightyear.
But they've been. This is where we get into discussion. Is this some games being played by Sideshow or?
I canceled my Neo pre-order too.
Oh, really? What made you want to cancel? You're just like, oh, it's just not for me. Oh, shoot. Look, the last chance page is. Oh,
Overloaded.
Neo's gone. Neo's gone, guys.
Oh, wow.
Who else is gone? Someone else is missing from this list.
So
the stealth suit Iron Man is obviously gone, but that's been a little bit since someone else is missing. Somebody in the chat, if you're paying attention, there was another figure. When I checked this morning, there was 15. When I sort by Hot Toys, now there's 12. So some cost babies are gone, but someone else is missing from this list. Buzz Lightyear, I believe, is on almost gone status. Yes, almost sold out. So Buzz Lightyear will be shortly falling off of this list. I did get my pre-order in for Buzz and Neo as well. It does look like Neo is officially gone. So guys, if you didn't end up pre-ordering that Neo, hop on that wait list. Get on that wait list early.
Yeah, he's on wait list open.
Interesting.
He's in the Matrix. He'll be back.
He is in the Matrix.
Yeah, I think I might have made a mistake with that one.
Look, Ryan, we always talk.
Dude, he's on so many sites. It's not one of those things you have to go chase. You know
what it is? I saw
guys, there's a stealth cap. Nope, somebody got it.
What?
There was a stealth cap on Sideshow Second.
No way.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow. Whoever got that, congratulations. But what were you saying, Ryan? You said
no. You know what it was? Is that I always joke with people whenever I talk to new collectors I've never really spoken before. I always ask the same question. You know, when it comes to a movie, if they make a movie of I think I've asked this before, but if a movie comes out, can you detach yourself from the figure from the movie? So if the movie sucked, can you still get the figure?
It did. It did.
Yeah, that movie was awful, personally. So
I have it in the cart.
Dude, prime example, Morbius.
Morbius
sucks, but I want that figure.
Okay, hey guys, should I pick it up? I have the Captain America in the cart.
I mean, do you want it? I mean, that's a no-brainer to me.
Lane, you could flip that for something you really, really want.
Should you drink water if you're thirsty?
I know, right?
Because it'd be $314 ship.
I'm not seeing any issue with that.
Flip
Go
that
for
and
it.
trade it for something you want.
Or you could.
Like
right. That's
Anakin.
Perfect trade bait, man. Perfect. Go for it. Otherwise, someone's gonna beat you to it. But yeah. So Ryan, you bring up a good topic of discussion because I've often talked about this on this stream here and other streams as well. It's like the obviously perfect example is this Neo figure, right? The Matrix 4 was a terrible movie. There's no other way to put it. And I haven't seen one person.
Even the Wachowskis admitted that it was a
right. So if
movie.
they're saying it's shit, it's like it's a bad movie. And if you're a fan of the original Matrix trilogy, the fourth film did not give you those vibes, did not give you that nostalgia. It just didn't feel like the Matrix feels, it didn't have that same feeling at all. And even like the cinematography to me, it didn't feel right,
Mm-hmm.
It relied too much on the flashbacks of going back to the original trilogy and it piggybacked off of that, thinking the fans would be all about it. But if you read everybody's reviews, they're like, why would you go back so many times in the movie? Like, it was unnecessary to do that. You could have just kept it new. It was supposed to be like a reboot, like a whole new system. But they tried to literally piggyback off the trilogy, and that killed the movie.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is when the figure came out, I jumped on it, pre-ordered it right away. But then that's the thing is that I started to think, because I cut down on pre-orders, he's one that I, hit the cutting room floor, so to speak. It didn't come with anything that I liked. You know what I mean? Like I wish I had gotten the Neo from the first movie with the guns, all that stuff, all those extra.
I got that one.
And I was looking at it.
So
good. It was Neo,
so good.
And the new version was Neo putting out his hand with a backdrop, and that was kind of it. And I'm like,
not
you
forget
really...
his pills, the hand.
Oh,
because
yeah,
the pills. It looks like he got a handful of Mike and Ike's.
It was painted so poorly in the prototype.
Yeah, so I just looked at it.
Mike and Ike's tropical flavor.
Yeah, I looked at it. I was like, but the problem is I'm such a Keanu Reeves fan.
That's a thing, dude.
Yeah,
Cigars and I have our Keanu shrines, bro. And I'm like,
Shrine to Keanu.
I got my my John Wick. Oh man, I love it.
Beautiful. I have that figure too. It's beautiful. Look, here's a perfect example. Cyberpunk game sucked ass. The game sucked ass. But I got to get Johnny Silverhand as Keanu Reeves. Also, guys, thank you so much, CSI. That's what it was. It was the collector's edition of Thor. So, guys, the collector's edition of Thor is finally gone. Also, Endgame Rocket was on there. Blackbird, good eye on that one. That one's gone as well. Again, it was like 3 of them that went bye-bye. So I guess it was this, Endgame Rocket, and what did we mention before? Neo. So very interesting. Very, very interesting.
I don't even want that Thor, man. That movie was very disappointing.
I didn't hate the movie.
But that's
I really
the problem.
didn't, but
that's actually a really
man.
awesome suit in my opinion. Movie was
I agree.
trash, like trash.
For me,
But
it was like a 7 out of 10.
I don't even like the figure though. Like I'm just like
I still
that
think
armor
that
looks
I
too
love
much
it,
like
dude.
I still
something you
have
see off
the
of Power Rangers. Even
I
though I
still have
like
the-
Power Rangers, I don't like the fact that Thor looks like he's a Power Ranger.
yeah, it's true.
Pete
My
Ant said
Infinity
I
War
sent
Thor-
back a stealth suit due to shield. Could have been that one. Oh, the stealth suit cap. What was wrong with your shield? Did yours? Okay. Actually, so guys, if you haven't watched my stealth suit cap review, I mentioned in my review, and I know Ryan has seen it, that there were scuffs on my shield.
Yeah.
Is that what was on yours? Because my shield had scuffs all around the edge.
Did you ever get
And
those
usually
out?
I haven't tried yet. I still do it. I keep
Oh.
saying I'm going to do it. Here, maybe I could actually, I have the stealth suit cap here. Maybe I could show you guys on camera. Hold on. Let's see. Let me see if you guys can see it.
It was on the outer red ring, right?
Yeah, let me pull it off his back. See, I'm making myself do work here. All right. Let's see if you could actually see it on camera. I wonder if yours was like this, Ant. Oh, you can kind of see it there. It's not focusing because it's so damn shiny. Yeah, it doesn't want to focus. But yeah, around this outside ring here, I have scuffs along my shield. And I feel like I could probably like buff it out and maybe get it off with some soap and water. Maybe it's some like manufacturing grease or something that they had on their fingers. But I wonder if yours was the same way. Let me know, because that'd be interesting. Maybe that was a common defect with these. But the problem is, Ant, there's no way in hell I was going to send this back because of obviously this was very limited, and I really do like the suit. Apart from I'm dropping my shield. I really do like the suit apart from the few issues I had here and there. My cap is just falling apart. He's dropping his glove. He's dropping his shield. So I'm curious if yours had that same issue. Lane, everybody's saying do it. Lane's probably sweating right now. He's got to beat a sweat.
All I know is I'm on Sideshow seconds
No,
right now. And I don't see a cap. So
yeah, no, someone got. I hesitated too long. I needed to just hit the button, but I stopped for like 10 seconds, and someone else got it. But I had it in there. I think I don't want the figure enough. I don't want to I've got my money spent on stuff that are maybe coming, and
yeah, with stuff like that, it goes so quick, man. I mean, look at that. Yeah. I still am shaking my fist at my screen to the dude who got the Ghostbusters 4. I know Ryan was probably.
We got you know, honestly, I hate those emails because
they show up so late for me. Dude, I have no chance. I literally have no chance.
Well, I remember this was a while ago, Spooktacular a couple years ago. They had some of the Rogue One figures pop up. You got an email literally, I saw the email pop up with like the Death Trooper specialist, and I was smashing buttons because I was like really, really new to Hot Toys, and I was hitting buttons going, oh my god, they got the Death Trooper specialist. So I was hitting that to go buy it. It said sold out, and everybody's like, oh, those are already been gone. I'm like, how the hell did they go on? The email arrived like literally 5 seconds ago.
Nah, dude. Yeah, those emails are always so late for me.
Yeah, it's the worst system I've ever seen.
Yeah, because they had posted on like Facebook or Twitter that those things were popping up, and everybody already on Twitter saw them before the emails came and already got everything. And I still haven't. Well, who the heck puts up a system?
I was waiting to find out a post of who got the Ghostbusters, like legitimately, and someone who posted it saying like not to be, putting in anyone's face, but I really wanted to know if that was legit. Like I really was hoping.
I think it was, because I do think I did see that post, and I do think later they put up a photo of it in their hand. So I do think it was legitimate. So good for them, man. I mean,
yeah, I would have bought that. Yeah, I would have bought that. I would have. If I would have had those, I would have bought the Ecto one.
Exactly. That's my thing with
that. I was prepared to buy that and have my wife come home and question why the credit card had an $800 plus charge on it.
But dude, for those, you could easily explain that away. Go on eBay, be like, look, this is what they go
my
for.
couch is more comfortable than my bed. I would have slept on my couch the whole
You're like,
week.
I'm good. I'm good for a week.
Okay. So now we got the
So guys, I told Lane this sound describes my thoughts on the hair on this figure.
Yes, awful.
This is the sound here. That's my thoughts on the hair on this figure, dude. When I first saw this, I couldn't unsee the hair, man, and I don't have an issue with the sculpt.
It looks like a big, not the kind of the on the left side of the picture, her hair lengthwise down there.
It does. It looks like a blob.
Doesn't it look like it looked like a big roll of red taffy that's just scooting?
Yeah, it literally looks like somebody's melting a crayon over her head, and it's just not pouring down both sides. Because, I mean, you can't even see the difference, from the braided part to the normal hair. It's just all clumped there.
And, Yeah, and it's almost like the way that the hair is shaped,
Nuttier
the
than
way it
squirrel
frames
shit.
the face, does it not look like she has no neck? Like the way that the
Makes her head
collar
look
is
bigger. Her head looks
right.
Yeah.
It
big,
looks
larger.
Yeah.
cartoony, man.
She looks like she got a volleyball head.
She looks like a what if version of
like a right, like this is like an animated
Yeah.
Black Widow that we're
Now,
seeing.
the
here.
thing I was saying, I actually like the facial sculpt for this one.
No, I mean the
Actually,
sculpt
no,
isn't
no,
bad.
The
It's
facial
the
sculpt
hair
is
is what makes
really
it
good.
weird.
Yeah, but the hair just completely throws out because you got this nice facial sculpt, and then you just got shit hair.
I agree
Right.
with Rick. I think this one actually looks better than the other Black Widow.
I'm really upset because I think, like Lane said, I think I'm in the minority. Like I was actually to pick the white suit up because I had the end game, which I think between these two and like the end game, I think the end game is still the best overall
too.
version. I sold it
agree.
with Hawkeye, like, and when this movie came out, because I saw the white suit, I really wanted the white suit because it's different than everything black.
Yeah.
I am so upset by that hair. I'm not gonna lie to you. It really is. I'm just really turning me off about getting it.
It's unfortunate, man. It really
The
is
sculpt
because
is on point. Everything's great about it, but that hair is just so bad.
and they make it look good here, but it's like that frontal shot is what kills it, man. Like it kills it. It absolutely kills it. And it's like this is not Hot Toys quality hair right here.
No.
And
there's no texture. There's really the shading. There's not a lot of work put in.
Right,
There's just like a solid color.
the best way I could put it, right, we wanted sculpted hair for Black Widow for the longest time. We absolutely did, right? And we got our sculpted hair. But this is not what we're used to seeing from Hot Toys. Like, look at Thor Endgame, for example. He has sculpted hair, and it looks fantastic, and he has long hair. Even Qui-Gon, who has that horrible, solid hair, you could move his head like this, and that's it. It still looks like real hair. Like, what happened here, you know? Like, this is not what we're used to seeing from Hot Toys, unfortunately. Now, there are some areas where I'm like, that's normal Hot Toys quality, but, like, especially this piece on our right here, with this braid, it looks like all one piece, man.
Yeah, there's no separation.
None.
You can't really tell that that's braided hair unless you actually look at it. If you look at it from a distance, it just looks lumpy and choppy.
It's very unfortunate, dude, because I don't think the suit looks bad. I really don't. I think, and even in this photo here, it's not terrible, but in most of these photos, it just looks off.
Yeah, dude. Whenever I look at that hair, I just think if diarrhea could be a hairstyle, then it is.
Yeah, I could see people cutting the hair off of this one and kind of doing a rooted job. I know they do that every once in a while with certain figures, but this is definitely one I see being a candidate. And I don't think the suit looks bad, but I do much prefer this version. And I'm not even going to end up picking up this one unless I get it for like an insane discount. But I do much prefer this one. That's just me.
I'm getting.
Even
though I didn't like the movie, I don't have a Black Widow, and I do. I have seen some from the Endgame ones that I could pick up, but I don't know. I think the gold is what stands out for me. The gold and black on that outfit, it just, to me, it pops. So that's why I want that Black Widow.
And I just love that one. Yeah. Oh yeah. So sorry, Ant, I missed your comment. Ant said yes, his was bad. His had the same issue. I wonder what that is, man. Maybe a lot of times with Hot Toys when they have defects like that, it's like they paint all of this stuff, and then the way that they sit it when it's drying affects the finish and stuff like that. I haven't tried to wipe mine off because I almost felt like I could get it off, but I haven't tried yet. But that's very interesting. Yeah, I know, Matt. I really, really wanted that fur Thor, and freaking look, we didn't get. Once again, we got cheated on Korg. I mean, anything could happen. Obviously, we're getting some of these side characters very late, like Valkyrie, for example.
I'm surprised a third party hasn't done a Korg.
They have. They're actually.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, there's a third party doing a Korg.
I apologize.
Finally, yes. Finally, a third party did do a Korg.
Yeah,
but it's
right,
like Wong too.
The one Thor, man. The one where he's working out. He's got the fat gut and then the Avengers hat.
Yeah, there's a third party Wong, and he looks
Avengers.
Dumb, dude. Like the face.
Wong's
is
probably
so
been
off.
in more movies than any Marvel character.
Dude, everyone's holding out hope for this for She-Hulk. We're all holding out hope for She-Hulk because
dude, it's gonna be Wong and Madison, and they're gonna give you the couch and the TV, and on the TV screen it's gonna be Sopranos episode 3.
While we're at it, we might as well talk about the big topic of the night. And I know Matt said he's here just for this guy. Me personally, yeah. So I'm really excited for this, and I've seen a lot of people, and very fair. I mean, it's your opinion. A lot of people have said they don't like this suit, but I love this suit, and I also like what it symbolizes. Because for those of you that don't know, these are the same colors that his father wore with his boxing trunks and everything, and the robe he would wear when he would come into the ring. So that's what this is reminiscent of, and that makes it that much cooler to me. I think it looks incredible. I love the two-tone look. When I first saw photos of it, I was unsure. And then when I saw it on screen, I'm like, okay, it works. It really does work. And I think...
Don't forget, it's also the original Daredevil costume from
right,
the
and it's
comic.
based... Correct, yes. I'm sorry, you got to remember, my mind is always with, like, TV and...
But you were right.
Films,
that's why he does
yeah.
base the colors off is for his dad.
Right, but that's
like
where my mind is. That's why we have you here, Cigars, because you're our comic expert. Because I don't know much about the comics, but yeah. So for me, like when I saw this, I'm like, oh, dude, that's his father's his colors for his boxing attire. Like this is really cool. And when I saw it on screen, I'm like, okay, I need this. And the moment I saw him on Daredevil, or actually, I should say the moment, excuse me, on She-Hulk, I should say the moment I heard that he was going to be in She-Hulk, I was like, I'm not buying the Hot Toys one because I know they're going to do another one. I know they're going to, and here we are.
I still remember this episode because Nate and I were doing the stream and we were drinking while watching it, getting drunk. And I remember saying, watch, they're going to drop Daredevil before She-Hulk or any other figure. And Nate and I went on a tangent because he agreed. And we were giving our synopsis of why we thought that. And boom.
Right. Matt says, here we go.
That they give us the head sculpt, though. Without the mask, they actually give us the Matt Murdock
dude. That would be killer. And I'd probably display him with the head sculpt. I probably would just because...
I want to get him because you can get the third-party body.
You could, yeah.
Where he has the suit and cane. You can actually get the suit and the blind cane.
I think So Toys, I have it on pre-order. They have
Hero Lawyer,
a reissue of it, and it looks pretty good to me.
I was thinking about grabbing it. Now with this, I'm like, damn, I might have to.
But I want to put him with Spidey because of that whole scene in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was such a good cameo, dude. He caught
a really good lawyer.
I can't wait for this. I really can't.
Me too, man. Like
I had the Netflix one, and I got once again sold it because I didn't really fit in the collection. I saw this announced. I was like, oh, I don't even care if they do this one and they do another one. I'm getting him. He's coming.
That's the other thing with I think Frank Castle. We're gonna get another Punisher figure.
They are his trainer. You see
that? They're coming out with another Punisher.
His trainer said that they're getting him in shape.
And I was hoping, dude. I wanted a Punisher show version really bad. That's what I really want. I would still definitely buy the Daredevil one. The Daredevil one's so good, but yeah, like if we got like a Punisher show version, like with one of his alternate outfits from the show, that'd be super cool. But yeah, we're absolutely going to get another Frank Castle.
We're going to see more Frank Castle though, because he's going to be in Armor Wars.
Yep.
So we're going to see a real
Punisher War Machine.
There's
a third party that sorry.
I have a feeling that they're going to take it the Cosmic Ghost Rider route. So we may see an actual, which is my ultimate dream, is to get a 1/6 scale Cosmic Ghost Rider. But I think that's where they're going to take John Bernthal in that route.
Hey, I'm cool with it. The more John Bernthal, the better, man. What were we going to say, Ryan?
No, about Punisher. What you're saying was there's actually a third party. I don't know if you saw it. I actually pre-ordered it and hope that it actually ends up being what it is. It's a Frank Castle from Punisher, the second season, when he reveals himself.
Oh, the one with the two head sculpt?
Yeah, because you can get the battle damage. You can get the battle
I was looking at that one. I really was. I'm looking at it.
I have that. From the photos, it looks on point. So
yeah.
No, it does. It's really good for
really good.
A third party. It's really good. If anybody missed out on the actual the Daredevil Punisher from Netflix, then I would say if you have a chance, get that third party one because they knocked it out of the park. If they can keep what they showed with the promo to final, there's going to be a lot of happy customers.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, man. Like I've pulled it up a couple times. I've got a list of third party stuff that I'm looking at.
I think it's Q1, Q2 of next year, but that thing is
it's that one. I'm definitely getting that new Steppenwolf. That Steppenwolf is so badass, man. I'm definitely getting that.
I don't remember which company is actually making that Punisher.
I don't know. I looked at it recently.
I have it right now. I have it up. It's called. I'll tell you right now. It's Hero Toy X.
Oh, Hero Toy.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I was looking at my pre-order for it, so I pre-ordered it back in February, and I totally forgot I did.
Yeah, I was so close to grabbing that one at one point.
I'm still waiting on my damn Present Toys Indie, man.
Oh, man. I forgot. But there was so much hype behind that figure, too, that Present Toys Indie.
Yeah, man.
It sold out so fast, and everybody started paying all this money for it. And dude, it's third party. They'll do more. Don't worry.
Yeah, because Present Toys saw the hype behind it, so they said they'd do a second batch.
Right.
Second batch still hasn't come out yet.
Right.
But I understand there's delays because there's a lot of stuff going on over there.
A lot of stuff going on.
Really hectic. So I'm being patient. I've just been going back to check on it, and every month it gets pushed to the next month, to the next month, to the next month. And then even my VTS Toys Kenshin, that was supposed to be out in like October, and then it got pushed to December. So who knows when that's actually going to come.
Right. Penn, the Naruto figures, is that 3-0? I know nothing about Naruto.
There's 3 companies that are doing Naruto. 3-0 did the young Naruto, and there's another third party that's doing like a teenage Naruto, and then I think the ones with the 3 figures it's another company, but they've released like it's Naruto, still I think teenage Naruto, and then 2 bad guys.
Oh, okay. Rick has a question for us. He says, do you think all the No Way Home Hot Toys will be pushed back a year or more, since there are a lot of Hot Toys that were supposed to come out this year but didn't, including a lot of the MCU?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of pushback because there's a lot going on over there.
Yeah, I think the Spider-Man figures will come out basically on time, like the actual Spider-Man figures, but obviously the rest of them, the more complicated figures like Doc Ock and Goblin and Electro, those will probably get pushed back. I just think there's just so much. And Sean, question for you while we're talking about this, do you have an updated list now that those emails have been sent out? And Bo-Katan's been released? Do you have an updated list of what we're still waiting on this year?
I do.
Let's hear it. Sean's our numbers man. What do we got?
All right.
You'd be surprised, guys. There's still a lot that hasn't released.
So for this year, they've made 89 announcements, 60 releases. Only 27 of them had head sculpts, so that's less than half.
That's crazy, man. Only 27.
So right now for quarter 4 of 2022, we're waiting on 32 items to be released. That's 12 different Star Wars, 10 Marvel, 7 DC, 2 from Back to the Future, and 1 other, which is that
Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one.
Why did I know? I knew which one he was talking about because I was like, that's the only weird one in the list.
Yeah, that's the one that Sean's like not excited for. He's like,
yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's probably most people, but you and I were like,
Keanu.
Fanatics. Gotta have it. But that's a lot, Sean. That's a lot. And I mean, I would venture to say we're going to get less than 60% of those by the end of this year. Just because what's going on, it's bad, man. It's bad. And I'm even surprised that we got all of those emails the other day. At this point with Bo-Katan included, that's 4 figures. I'm even surprised by that. I really am.
Well, did people get emails for Bo-Katan?
We haven't yet. That's what I'm saying. But I do think with Bo-Katan, we'll probably see it within the next couple of weeks. Obviously, they did release those in Hong Kong, so I think we'll see her within the next couple of weeks. But without Bo-Katan out of the equation, we got, 3 other emails. So I'm even surprised by that. I truly am. I mean, now most of them don't have head sculpts. Actually, do any of them have head sculpts apart from the Bo-Katan out of those emails? I don't think so. But that goes back to what you've always said, Sean. The ones without head sculpts are going to be pushed through first. And we talked about Vaughn on the last stream. So it's not really a complicated formula to understand with how they've been going recently. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, no head sculpts means a lot less labor for them. I don't think we all realize how much labor goes into painting these head sculpts. It's a lot of labor.
Is it 7 or 10 days for them to paint one head sculpt?
Right, for the whole process. It's something crazy like that going down to the assembly line. So there's a reason these figures are so expensive, and there's a reason they're going up in price, because it's already difficult enough to run a business, especially in Hong Kong, where it's bad. It's really bad. So,
and like if we're going to compare numbers like from last year, last November they announced 9 different items and they released only 4. In December, they announced 7, and then they released 11. And that was December 2021. So compared to now, for this month, they've announced 5, they've released 6, so they've released more. Like this year, though, they've actually released more this year than they ever have before because they've released 60
which is
so far.
impressive considering what they're dealing with right now.
Given all their constraints.
This is also the year that they've produced less head sculpts.
Right.
You know, it's
So
usually
it makes sense,
pretty
yeah.
fair balance, and now it's kind of just waiting.
Sean, do you have any information on in-game Loki?
He's lost in the multiverse.
Yeah, sure. It was
Rick-
announced, and it hasn't been released yet.
Right, Rick. Endgame Loki's kind of a meme for us. It's just like, well, we don't mention. It's like you don't say Voldemort's name. We don't talk about Endgame Loki here.
I don't
Nah,
know
man, I mean-
about Loki. He's just delayed. And
Dude,
delayed
it's
and delayed.
Endgame Loki is just it's a meme at this point because we've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's like everybody. That's the first question they ask, like, "Where's Endgame Loki?" Your guess is as good as mine, man. I don't know. It's unfortunate because I don't have a Loki in my collection. I held off for that one, and it's like it's burning a hole in my pocket. That money's burning a hole in my pocket. Matt, with Batman XE, I will say that is quite the detailed and complicated figure in terms of design. So I could see why that one hasn't been pushed out yet. Let's compare like Batman XE to Captain Vaughn. You know, like there's no comparison. So I get what you're saying.
Well, Captain Vaughn's already been paid. It's Commander Cody.
Yeah, it's just a reuse of parts. Yeah, it's just they dug into the parts bin, found some extra parts.
The
And
XE suit, you could see why it's taking so long. It's intricate. There's a lot of details
Very
and things.
intricate,
Like
yeah.
even his boots, it has like the ice spikes and things like that.
Right. But guys, we're gonna move on to. I'm curious how many people in the chat are interested in this one, and also some other people in the panel. I know of one person that's excited for this one because we've talked about it quite a bit. But people in the chat,
Boom!
How many people are interested in this figure? I'm very curious. So me personally, Nirvana was a big part of my childhood. So to see Kurt Cobain in figure format is amazing to me. And another one of my favorite bands, actually, the Foo Fighters. For those of you that don't know, David Grohl was a member of the Foo Fighters. So I'm very intertwined in Nirvana in many ways from my childhood. So this is really, really cool to me. It has gone up for pre-order, I think, with 1/6 kit. The price is a bit steep, but with Blitzway, you know you're getting quality. Now, I don't know if it's worth the amount of money that they're asking for it, but will I pay it? Yes, I will. Just because it's like with figures like this, Blitzway, guys, if you haven't purchased from Blitzway or are familiar with the company, they don't redo things very often. So this is going to be like a one and done for them. Right. I mean, I think I know of like one 6-scale figure, I think, that they've redone. Someone was mentioning it to me the other day, and I can't remember.
Tyler Durden, but
that's what it was.
But it wasn't really a reissue.
I gotcha.
Because I brought it up before, and
it may have been you. It may have been you that said that to me.
Like Denobi actually explained it that it wasn't really a reissue. It was just like I forgot how he explained it, but he was correct. It wasn't a real reissue. It was their form of calling it a reissue, but it wasn't really a reissue.
Right. But yeah, with that being said, I think this figure is beautiful. I think it looks just like Kurt.
It's
I think
I'm getting it.
Really
this brings back memories of me watching MTV Unplugged live when Kurt Cobain was on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is this something you would pick up, Ryan?
Well, I'm a guitar player, and Nirvana.
This is all you.
Oh, yeah, I love it. And that's a shame because there's certain kind of IPs or characters. Like I wish people tapped into music more, like characters
for 6-scale figures. Yeah,
yeah. Like I wish that was more of a market. I know they did like a
6-scale Slipknot.
Yeah, or something like that. Like people like that.
I know Jimi Hendrix has been done. I believe it was
Blitzway.
3-0.
Blitzway did Jimi Hendrix.
I thought they did. Maybe not.
So,
but
they did it.
I really like this. Like looking at stuff like I look at certain like the guitar things like that. Doesn't have for licensing. They don't have the Fender name on it. They call it Bender, not Fender. Which
oh yeah, you can see that there. Ben, I didn't even notice that. Good.
They're calling it Bender. Which
Bender. That's clever.
People actually question that because like Bender, with his substance abuse, they kind of questioned if that was the right word.
They're looking in it too much, but I never caught that.
But I love it though, like the guitar, the way his hands. I mean, it's done. I mean, I'm looking at it from a guitar's perspective, player's perspective, and it's just done like to it. Perfect, awesome. Him with the eyes closed with the cigarette. It's like the torn shirt.
Yeah, I love that sculpt, man.
It would be my first Blitzway, so that's why I was questioning. Like, I don't know what they're. I mean, I know Blitzway.
They do great work.
Yeah, they do great. I got their Bill and Ted, and I got their Hannibal Lecter. So I can tell you right now that the Bill and Ted was they kind of missed the mark a little bit, but their Hannibal was on point.
I think
Rick, that's Enter Bay. To answer your question, Enter Bay is who does the basketball figures.
The only thing the price on though it's like isn't it like close?
It's to like $400.
That's what's like
it's like very expensive. It really
that's what drives me off of it because I'm a Nirvana fan. I'm definitely like a Nirvana fan, but I don't know if I'm not like that much of a Nirvana fan where I'll pay $400 for it. I'm more like classic rock, like 70s and 60s. So if they need someone from that point, I'd be all over it. So I could see it there. It's
there's the sunglasses.
Pick up the Blitzway Jimi Hendrix for like $320.
Yeah, so like that's up my alley, you know.
Market. Because it came out when it came out, it was $289. But I mean, for it being $289 and then the resale value was only $320, that's actually a pretty damn good deal.
Yeah. So like if they start doing more
Cobain for sure.
That's what I'm wondering. Like if this is going to open up more figures for them for like a music line. I don't know. I mean, they've done. I think Jimi Hendrix is the only other one they've done, right? Like there's a lot of stuff they could do. Like BB King. Like how far down, like they're gonna do rock and roll figures only, you know? Like there's
Johnny
Elvis.
Cash.
I mean, Johnny Cash, dude. I would.
Johnny Cash. No, that's a whole nother stream.
Did you say Will Smith?
Aerosmith.
Oh, I thought you said Will Smith. I'm like, please. Oh yeah, like Steven Tyler would be cool. Steve Perry.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about these 1/6 musicians. Is that
9 members?
Yeah. I said this before. Slash would be really cool. I would love to see Slash. I'd buy that for sure. Yeah. That was like my idol when I was a kid.
You know who did a stream? You know, not real quick. You know who did a series of musicians? If you remember Todd McFarlane, he did a whole series. Yeah. He did Elvis. He did Slash. He did a whole. Iconic
did Elvis. That would be cool.
Metallica.
Kirk Hammett would be amazing, dude. I would buy the crap out of that. Iconic. They did 2 versions of Elvis. They did the 50s like jailbird look,
jail rock,
like the black and white, and then they did the 70s look. Yeah, and they both amazing. I didn't pre-order them. They actually sold out on Sideshow already, so they're gone. But yes, paid an absolutely Freddie Mercury. More Michael Jackson.
A lot of
Otto's done a lot of Michael Jackson. Yeah, was it the Live Aid look? Is that what it was for Freddie Mercury?
And there's another third party that's doing his other look where he wore that all white jumpsuit with that kind of looked like
when he played in London, he had like a yellow jumpsuit and stuff like that.
Yeah, OG. I think you're right. I think you're right.
But they're doing one where he's doing the all white outfit.
Yep.
Type of deal. And there's a new third party that's about to do that one. I was like, wow, man, everybody's jumping on with Freddie Mercury. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it looks like OG's saying he had all of those McFarlane figures that you were talking about. I'm not familiar with them, but I never knew they did that.
Oh yeah, he was all into that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rick, I always say this, man. Sideshow has such an opportunity to continue to do what they're doing, like with the Crow, with all of these horror figures, with the Dude. Like they need to continue to make obscure figures like this. And what I really want them to do, I always say this, but Sideshow, I want you to do Beetlejuice again. I really want a Beetlejuice figure.
Beetlejuice. It wasn't all perfect, the figures that they constantly reissue, how come they haven't brought back? I'm guessing they lost the license. If they haven't brought it back, they probably lost the license.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's probably the case.
Because you look at everything else that they constantly reissue: their horror figures, C-3PO, Han and Carbonite, R2-D2 Deluxe, their Vader, Return of the Jedi Vader.
I'm surprised,
John
man.
Marston.
Yeah, so guys, the Lim Toys John Marston photos have been posted. I know a lot of people were excited for this one. There was a question that they had for Lim Toys. They were like, why is one sculpt young and one is older? I think Lim Toys said something to the effect of like, we didn't realize that we had put 2 different sculpts in the photos. I don't know if that's true, but I had seen multiple people comment on that.
It makes sense though, because you play as John Marston as a younger version, and then you play him when he's older.
Right. I mean, if you played Red Dead Redemption 1 and Red Dead Redemption 2, they're 2 different looks.
Exactly. So, you have a young John Marston in Red Dead Redemption 2 because they go backwards. So literally, they're focusing on the past and the present one when you actually play as John Marston.
Here's him with the Arthur.
Because look, he's with Morgan right there.
I think these look awesome. I didn't grab the Arthur Morgan, but this may put me over the edge because, dude, Red Dead Redemption 1 is like one of my favorite games of all time. That story, like the ending of that story, when he did all of that shit for those lawmen, all of that stuff. He put his life on the line, killed his own friends, and they just destroyed him in front of his family. There's absolutely pumped him full of lead.
Right
but of course,
the door, and there's like, what, 12 to 15 of them?
All the guys, including that main, I forgot his name, the main dude that hired him to do all of that, all of them just completely betrayed him. They had him kill all of his friends for nothing, basically. So, but of course, Jack Marston gets revenge and kills the main dude. So I thought that was cool. The last thing, I haven't watched this video yet, but I wanted to squeeze this in here before the end of the stream. So me personally, guys, I've decided that I am going to end up grabbing. You said, what figure is this? I'm going to end up grabbing this guy right here, the man with no name. They showed Clint Eastwood holding these figures, or standing with these figures rather, and I thought it was amazing. What I've decided I'm going to do, for those of you that have seen Back to the Future Part 3, I'm sure you remember
give him the poncho.
Well, so not even that. My idea is, because Marty went by Clint Eastwood in the third film, I'm like, dude, I got to put the man with no name with Marty in that like poncho look. I've got to. It's going to look so good, and it's going to be so, like, if you've seen the film, it's like an inside joke in my display, you know? So
I want all 3 Clint Eastwood figures.
I want all 3. I'm not.
All 3.
I definitely want Dirty Harry, but definitely getting a man with no name. Dirty Harry is like a 80% for me. This film, I've honestly never seen. I've never seen this film. Right, I've never seen this film, but these two, like, my grandfather used to make me watch old Westerns and like Turner Classic Movies and stuff when I was a kid. So I have very fond memories of a lot of older Clint Eastwood stuff. So I'm going to be grabbing at the very least the man with no name. But yeah, I'm going to be putting it with my, and I was still like thinking about whether I wanted to get the Part 3 Back to the Future figures. I'm like, dude, I got to, because it's like, we may never see Hot Toys do Back to the Future stuff again, at least not for a long time, you know? So
best to have it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be all in on the Back to the Future stuff, because Part 3 is one of those rare films that was actually good, you know, because a lot of Part 3s suck. But that was not the case with Back to the Future. Back to the Future Part 3 was still such a great film, in my opinion. I love the story. I love how in the trilogy they tied the story together so well. So I think I have to get the Part 3 figures. I think I'm going to be all in. And because of that, I'm definitely going to get this Clint Eastwood. At the very least, I'm going to get the man with no name. This is a very short video, but I did think it was cool that they had a photo of Clint Eastwood with the figures. And I think the likeness is great. I really do. I think it looks just like him.
Man.
Especially
really
the Dirty
for,
Harry.
Yeah, especially
and I love
for Sideshow.
Yeah, so they're really stepping it up, man.
Yeah, let's see how the
whoever
body.
They hired to do the Legacy Edition, they need to keep that person and just have them continue on with whatever they have planned for future legacies.
The body, yeah, right. Lane, the body is great on the Crow. Since you're saying, let's see how the body is, I'll show you. Look at this bad boy. Oh, let me take his guitar down here. The joints are very tight on this figure, I'm telling you. The only like looseness in this figure is kind of at this waist area. But other than that, like the arm joints are great. I think overall they are improving. Now, I can't speak for the Star Wars figures, because obviously the Star Wars figures are still a point of contention for a lot of people, including myself, because I really wanted those animated figures. And I had the General Grievous, and as we know, that's basically just a pile of parts at this point. But I do think they have someone else, and I said this before, I think they have someone else manufacturing some of these other figures, like not the Star Wars line. I think because the Star Wars manufacturer seems to be different from like the Crow, the Dude, the horror line. It seems to be someone else doing it. And Cigars has a lot of these horror figures as well, and he's picking up the rest of them here shortly, I think. So he knows what I'm talking about. Like they definitely have improved with their bodies and the quality on their figures. And the Crow, again, and this is a controversial statement, I know, for a lot of people, but the Crow is like up there for figure of the year for me. Only because, and the reason I say this is, one, The Crow is a very special movie for me. But number two, I was so surprised at how much I liked the figure and how good of a job Sideshow did with the figure. And when I'm picking figure of the year, I want something that wowed me and surprised me. Did I love this Captain America figure here? Sure. But did it wow me? Did it surprise me? No. It was just as good as I thought it was going to be, you know? But when Sideshow comes out of the gate with a Crow figure which is a figure that hasn't been touched on in a long time in the 6 scale format, and does such a great job. I've got to put it up there as one of my figures of the year. Is it my number one? I'd really have to think about that, but it just surprised me so much, you know, and you got to give credit where credit's due. And I think I did a good job with that in my video review that I did on the Crow. I really think this figure deserves a lot of credit. And I think Sideshow deserves a lot of credit. And I want to give Sideshow credit because that's going to encourage them to do more of this stuff and continue to improve. Obviously, the Clone Wars, Star Wars figures, those are unacceptable. What they've done with those, that's not up to par. Especially that they're charging Hot Toys prices. They're charging more than some Hot Toys prices, you know? But this figure, I think, is very fairly priced for what you get. And talking about the guitar, because Ryan was mentioning earlier how much he loved that guitar on the Kurt Cobain. This guitar is beautiful as well. They did a great job, you know? So kudos to Sideshow on that one. I can't recommend it enough. If you're a fan of The Crow, or if you haven't seen The Crow, you have to see it, man. That's just a timeless film. It's one of my favorite
cult
movies
classic,
of all time.
man.
First of all,
It's
if you haven't seen The
timeless.
Crow, that's a problem, right?
Right. What are you doing,
like
man?
So many great quotes. I mean, the greatest one is when he's talking to Shelly and he tells her it can't rain all the time.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I threw that into I'm sure you heard, I threw that into my review. Yes, Peyton, part 3 Back to the Future is absolutely underrated. But again, a lot of part 3s suck. And Back to the Future is one of the few that I can recount.
I think 3 is
where the
better
whole
than
trilogy is
part 2.
good. I could see. Here's the thing. I could
whoa.
see some people saying that. Me personally, I don't agree, but I could see some people saying that.
That's because it's a Western, and I like Westerns.
Exactly.
I
like if you're a fan of
okay.
Westerns, I could see people
That
saying
makes
that.
sense.
But
I was never a huge fan of 2. I love 1 and 3.
I love 2, dude.
I think 3 was all right.
I loved 2 as a kid, man. That was my jam. I would watch
2
it
was
on
the best. That was my
VHS
favorite.
over and over and over. I even broke the damn tape. My dad had to buy a new one.
The original is still the best to me by a long shot versus 2.
I think number 1 is still my favorite, but number 2 is like such a close second. It's not even funny, you know.
I loved all 3 of them.
I did too. They're all great. And
I just think 3 suffered a little bit because they filmed 2 and 3 at the same time. Back to
yeah,
back.
because remember at
did.
the end of 2, they were showing you footage from 3.
Yeah, they were.
saying
They
it was
never
releasing.
stopped. They did 2,
Right.
and they went right into 3. So I just feel like they kind of rushed it a little bit. Where I'll tell you right now, if Hot Toys drops that Part 3 DeLorean, that's coming home too.
Yeah, dude, all day.
I couldn't say no to any DeLoreans.
White
Granted, you
wheels.
won't have the first one, but if you just get the Part 2 with the Mr. Fusion, just have one where the wheels are on the ground and one in flight mode. You'll get Part 1 and Part 2 vehicles, because at the end of Part 1, you know, he does roll up with the new DeLorean with the Mr. Fusion. So technically, it was in Part 1.
Yeah, of course.
You can just have it converted to land mode.
Exactly. I'd love to see the Part 3 vehicle come out, so then I could take the Part 3 Marty and Doc and have them sitting on the hood with the reins.
Look at the picture they had in
just
the
like they
promo.
did when they were displayed.
Right, that they teased us with in the photos, dude. I would be all over that, man. I really would. Yeah.
How cool would it be if they made it to where you could take the white wall wheels off and
Put
put
the
the
railroad
actual rail wheels? That would be awesome.
That'd be hot. That'd be hot for sure. I'd prefer that, actually. I would actually prefer that, because obviously that was the whole premise of the film, is them getting back to the future. They had to put it on the tracks and they had to push it with the train and everything. So that'd make more sense to me.
So not to jump off topic, but do you remember last night how I showed you I had the Eagle Moss DeLorean
right
there?
Yeah.
I actually have it in stage 2 mode. I actually have the parts that I could convert it into the 3. I have the wheels,
sick,
the track, and I just never did
nice.
it. I left it because I like it the way it is in the classic Mr. Fusion mode, but I could have converted it into the railroad. I have all the parts.
That's really
for it
cool, dude. That's really cool. Peyton, to answer your question, I'm not a statue guy. I think the only statue I have right now is the Sideshow Grogu, so I won't be grabbing the statue.
That Crow statue is pretty damn good.
It's
premium
beautiful.
format.
I love the pose too. I love it.
Yeah, the arm extended. That is such a cool pose for him.
Yeah. Oh, dude, CSI, I'd be all over that too. But that'd be massive. But that'd be so cool, especially, dude, if they could get the lighting effects right, because obviously the hover train had those crazy effects and everything on it. That'd be amazing. Be absolutely amazing.
Technically, they could just give you the first car, and it could be the length of like the tumbler, and then the height would be like, you know, a Hulkbuster.
Would it be detail friendly?
Definitely would not.
You sure
be
it wouldn't? No, that would be everybody building custom module cases at that point. That's how we're all going to be, dude. They keep throwing out these vehicles. They're going to get us all eventually. Everybody's going to have some sort of nostalgic feel with one of these vehicles. They're going to get us all. Like they got me with the DeLorean, man. I'm all in on the DeLorean for sure. I'm saving up rewards for it. So yeah,
they know how to get collectors because they can hit you with that nostalgia to where you just, you're doing the Fry thing. Shut up and take my money.
Right. But yeah, we're gonna guys, we're actually gonna wrap it up here. I know Lane has to get out the door, and I think it's like perfect timing. Thank you all for being here.
I have something to show.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh guys, I almost forgot. Lane, Lucky Duck here has the swoop bike finally. And Lane, you were saying this is like one of the most impressive pieces in terms of weathering that you've seen thus far.
Just like if you look, obviously it's not going to focus as much as I would want.
We're going to get Lane set up with a whole camera set up where he can actually get stuff to focus, especially with all the unboxings he does.
Yeah, but you can see just like the broken away paint and the weathering and stuff like on the car here and everything.
It looks good, man.
Yeah, because normally I would say versus compared to some of the stuff we talked about, like the AT-RT and stuff, like I'd be like, oh well, I don't know if you should get this versus that necessarily. If you're going to be able to fit a vehicle or two or something like that,
right?
But so obviously this is one of the even in comparison to the swoop bikes, you're like, well, isn't that kind of boring looking in comparison? I would say, well, normally I would say yes, because those other things got, like blasters on them and stuff.
Right.
That might be more interesting. But the paint asks for this and everything, or just even on just here for the seat, because it makes it so much look like it's a lot like the Boba Throne, where you might think it's like a cloth material. That's actually sculpted and everything.
Yeah, it looks like real cloth. It's beautiful.
This just blows me away just with the paint app. Like that's the big thing with this thing is they so completely nailed the worn down and age and use of this and everything. Now, it doesn't obviously. This really needs a figure on it to get the full effect of it and everything.
Yeah, you're slacking.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for my Chrome Mando. If they would, if Hot Toys and Sideshow would just finally put that out.
Yeah, Howard, what are you doing, man? We want that Chrome Mando. That's one I'm really, really excited for, too. Even though I already have a Beskar Mando, that Chrome Mando with the Beskar spear and the Darksaber, I'm really, really excited for that. By the way, Peyton, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, as always. You have a great night as well. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. Have a great weekend if I don't hear from you. CSI as well. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you as always. I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. I mean, we had a lot of people here tonight hanging out in the chats. So we really do appreciate you guys being attentive and chatty as always. But as we begin to wrap up here, I just want to say thank you to everybody on the panel for being here as always. Of course, guys, Ryan, this is his first time on the panel, and I'm sure it won't be the last. We really do appreciate you coming out and chatting with us. Really good conversations tonight. Also, guys, I forgot to put a link to Ryan's channel. Ryan is Mr. Mom Collectibles, as you can see there. I'm dropping a link in the chat. Definitely head over to his channel and subscribe if you haven't already. He does have a newer channel, but he is absolutely pumping out content at a rate of speed that I can't even keep up with. So we really do appreciate you doing that, because you know how it is when it comes to watching these content creators. You want to see more new stuff all the time. I'm the same way. I want to see new stuff all the time. So Ryan certainly is doing that. So head over to his channel, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get him up to 200 before the end of this month. I think it's doable. The way that he's cranking out content, I think it's doable. But let's get him to 200, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, definitely head over and do so. Ryan's a cool guy, and he's doing some really cool content, and he's doing some informative stuff too. A lot of people, when they first start with their YouTube channel, they try to do more basic stuff. Ryan's not doing that, and I like to see that. So definitely good to have you on, Ryan. Also, guys, Hot Toys Nightmare. Sean, if you haven't checked him out yet, what are you doing? Sean's here every week with us. His link to his channel is in the description, so definitely click on that and subscribe to Sean if you haven't already. Sean and Ryan, I guess we'll start with Ryan since I brought you up first. Do you have anything special going on in the channel that you have in the works that's coming up soon? Or?
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff that's going on. I actually have, because I'm also doing photography too. I'm a huge, I'm into photography. So I actually got, with a bunch of points, I got a Return of the Jedi Scout Trooper that's coming Monday. So I am going to be taking him outside. I actually have all woods in my backyard, so I'll be doing photography. Doing
nice, dude, that'll be sick, man. Like
got
the Forest of Endor.
I'm looking forward to that. Cool. And then I got a couple of videos that I'm doing. I'm working on one, which the biggest thing is about the DTOFs, how I'm switching, from where it was 2 years ago. And I really feel like Hot Toys is pushing a lot of people to have to reevaluate their collection. So I'm doing like the Module Case-esque build. I have the racks here. I'm going to do it this weekend. So I plan on filming a video. I just did a collection tour video, posted it yesterday, of my whole collection room.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
A 1.0 version. So I'm going to build these racks and then do an updated video, kind of that whole process, and kind of the reason why I'm kind of breaking up with the DTOF, since time to break that tie, and my reasoning behind it and what's going on. So just some information for people in the community that might need to look at and to check it out. So
right. That'll be cool, man. I'm probably my friends have been telling me, I'm like, oh, well, my collection room is not where I want it to be. I don't know if I want to film it before I change it. And everybody's like, dude, you should. So I'll probably do a little video showing some of my collection. I'm not going to show everything, but I'll show the DTOFs at least. The collector said he just subscribed to you. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you, man. Yes, I've seen the many shorts that he's put out of his daughter.
Oh, yes.
They're so funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
If you don't like seeing figures drop, though.
Yeah, dude.
Every time I see that, my heart drops. I'm like,
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, dude, that's how you know he loves his kid, because he's like, go ahead, you enjoy them just like I'm enjoying them. It's amazing.
She dropped the Lando figure, and I had no problem with that one being dropped at all. She dropped her. I had no problem.
I know Marty, like, I saw Marty in the one video.
I saw Marty go, and I'm just like,
no, not Marty. But I tried giving her an Iron Man, and she actually shook her head no. So it's like she knows which one's not to touch. So.
That means that's
they've got some heft.
Yeah. Like, nope.
But Sean, what do you have going on your channel right now? Or anything planned coming up?
Nothing planned. I'm just waiting for something to get here.
And then you'll do like a show and tell video, like you usually do.
Someday over the rainbow.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe I'll make a video on another collection video, but not planning on it yet. I'm just seriously waiting on stuff to get here.
Yeah. Okay. For me, guys, so I've been working on my YouTube short game the past few weeks. So I've been putting out some shorts. I put out another one today. It's a little snippet from my Captain America video. Also, guys, if you haven't checked it out already, I did put up a review of the Stealth Suit 2.0 Captain America, and I did compare it to the first release Endgame Captain America from the final battle, as well as the 2012 Captain America. So all three Endgame releases I did compare. So check that out if you haven't already. I think the video turned out pretty good. I'm really excited about that. Also, I will be filming another review tomorrow on a special lightsaber set that I got in the mail. I've been really on my lightsaber game recently, so I got this really cool lightsaber set. I know some of you guys really liked the last review I did on that, so I don't do a lot of 6-scale, non-6-scale stuff very often, but when I do, it's something that I really think is cool and that I really want you guys to see. So I'll be filming that soon. Also this weekend, I'll probably put up another short of a quick unboxing of another figure I got in. Just another figure that I thought was really cool, and I wanted to show you something quick without doing a whole video. So that's what I got going on. Again, if you haven't already, subscribed to all these fine gentlemen here on the panel tonight. Also, as always, Lane and CMB, it's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Lane, for showing off your swoop bike.
Always a pleasure.
Hey, we appreciate you, man. And thank you, Lane, for showing off your swoop bike and making me jealous. I think I deserve that. And you're lucky, Lane, you're lucky today that I forgot to pull out my animated Boba Fett, because my boy Kurt was in the Facebook group telling me to pull it out for the stream. And you're lucky I forgot, because that was going to be my opportunity to rub it in once more to you. So, so I guess you got your revenge.
We all
let it go. Let it stream.
It's all right. Yeah. Lane got his revenge today. We'll let him have that. I'll let you have one, Lane.
Yeah, don't worry. Everything plays out to Mace Windu 2025.
No, see, CMB and I are the true believers in the Mace cult. So we know that Mace is coming long before. We have faith in the Mace cult.
Yeah, and you know what they say in cults? There's a lot of delusion in there.
But at the end of the day, there's always a leader, and the leader of the cult is Mace Windu, baby. He's coming. So don't you worry, guys.
Yeah, he is coming.
We're long before 2025. I'll add that on before you say it. Long before.
And he's going to drop 2024. That's it.
Yes, and then finally, before we sign off, you must have all Boba Fett's. Agreed. Wise words once said by OG, and he's not wrong. I mean, guys, you can look at my collection. I've got them all, so he's not wrong. Does anyone here have any final thoughts, words of wisdom for the weekend as we go into the weekend? Any final thoughts or words of wisdom for the people in the chat?
1/6 scale vehicles eat up space. Plan.
There you go. Hey,
Get rid of your DTOFs.
get rid of your DTOFs. Hey, we're the No More DTOF crew is on stream right now. Even though we got bullied earlier by somebody, this guy right here. We're not going to be part of the. Yeah, Sean, you're the DTOF bully. You and your little Billy bookcases. You think you're so much better than
DTOF's #1, baby.
Sean's the one that bought out all the stock in his state. There's a shortage specifically in his state, and that's why, because Sean bought it all.
Yeah.
But yes, guys. So there, I guess moral of the story is there's plenty of different options for display. If you have DTOFs, enjoy them. But if you're buying vehicles, you may have to upgrade soon. That's why I got to check out Ryan's video.
Immediately.
Immediately. Mine is going to be, I have all the cases and stuff. I'm just waiting to build them. Collecting Mass is going to come over and help me build them because I have to have them built before I could take over 150 figures out of these cases and give him the DTOFs. I got to have somewhere to put them. And I've got all these helmets and stuff that I got to move around. So it's going to be a process, but I'm really excited to do it. And I'm finally going to have a fully upgraded collection tour for you guys within the next probably 2 months, I would say. I'll be fair with it. I'll give you 2 months. And then I'll do a collection tour because I've got other stuff too. I've got Funko Pops, Black Series, 3.75, Kenner, all that stuff. So DTOF Defenders channel. Yes, Matt, you're going to be part of the DTOF Defenders. Don't worry. I saw your comment earlier. But that's all we got for you guys. Once again, have a great night. Have a safe weekend. Thanksgiving is next week. So for those of you that celebrate, have a great time with your family. Be safe out there. Don't drink and drive. Just drink at home and have fun with your friends if that's what you like.
Just drink and buy Hot Toys.
Exactly. Drink and buy Hot Toys. That's good.
I can't even afford
Hot
drinking.
Toys will carry you through.
Exactly. If you're having some trouble making a decision on that ATRT, just have a little bit beforehand. Let it sit in and then buy it. Then click buy.
Take like 2 or 3 shots of whiskey
and then
go ahead and make the decision.
Then when you have to call Sideshow to do that, try and get your NRD back like a year from now, then you're like, well, there was some alcohol imbibement that I was encouraged without my original knowledge.
Right. That should be, there's probably a clause at this point, Lane.
Yeah. That just, I need to cancel it and get my NRD back.
That's when they're going to hang up on
my
you.
mind
Like,
was
what?
not my
Alcohol
own
was
when it
related.
happened.
We're not responsible for your drinking habits, and then they're going to hang up.
Right. All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for you. Have a wonderful night. Take care. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Take care, everybody.